I'll leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bunchu, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Car era lore. Call me Levi playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum entities. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
boy.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking in shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, mighty, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin, where we dive into all things crypto, NFTs, Web3, and cutting-edge technology. Remember, nothing here is financial advice. Early-stage tech can be exceptionally volatile and risky. So grab your coffee and join Cap and Steve for today's conversation.
Welcome to the future.
Welcome to Coffee with Captain GM. Thanks so much for joining us. If you already done so, do us a favor, drop us a GM in the chat down below. Then head up top, smash that like, repost, and bookmark on today's space. We greatly appreciate it. Warms up the algo and lets everyone over here does us a real solid. We're also live over on Abstract on Steve's account today, as well as the X video feed on Steve's account and the YouTube streets. The best GMers drop those GMs in all those spots. And yeah, we've got an AI with Bunchu day today. Shout out to Machiavelli. Says one of his favorite days of the week. Steve will run through the rest of the GMs here in a second. As always, I'm Cap, joined by my co-host Steve. Never any financial advice on the show. Crypto is risky, NFTs are risky. Meme coins exception risky and go to zero to moment's notice. Please don't put any money you can't afford to lose. Know that Steve and I will likely hold tokens we'll talk about from time to time here in the show. We are not financial advisors. Certainly not your financial advisor. Don't join us for that. Just join us for some fun, some information, and education along the way. GM Steve, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, GM to everybody. Abstract is lying to us this morning. I see several GMs in the Abstract chat, and I see one watching according to Abstract. So we got Mesh Von Frunton, yourself, obviously, Teacher Katie, Dwayne, Machiavelli, Thomas in the club, Intelligency, Cool Chick, good to see you out there as always, Diablito. GM's always in the video. I know we put some of them on screen, but Von Frunton, RDL never misses in the morning. Big Bear, Bordo Saka coming through. Heavy. Sorry, I wasn't able to connect with you when I was out west, Port Osaka. It was a quick in and out trip. Give us a like, a retweet, a comment on the room. As always mentioned, look, we don't charge anything for the show. We don't sell things to you, but we are going to be doing some giveaways. Had a great call yesterday, actually, about some opportunities to connect our true fans of the show and hopefully do some really cool stuff. So get yourself out there on that pretty soon. But do us a favor, like, retweet, comment in the room. Machiavelli, Teacher Katie, Von Frunton feeling good about yesterday. I was rooting hard for your Pacers and feeling good about it. I watched the end of the game. Didn't get a lot of it, but watched like kind of some of the third and the fourth quarter. Dwayne, aspiring nobody, digital dad, brick it all, Joey Val's always coming through. Kazi, like kamikaze out there. The new Ape edit is out and Vegas has it, and I may do that a little bit later today. Otis with an amazing GIF in the chat with the old computer commercial. But look, Cap, I am feeling like a new man today.
Good.
And so I'm ready to go. I won't belabor it, but
I realize I have a barrage of tech DMs I'm supposed to get back to. My apologies. There's several in there. I just happened to catch as I was scanning for one particular DM. Took me a minute. You said good day. Yeah, we actually hit a win yesterday. Good call. We hit on our Caps Clutch Market Parlay of the day was a winner. So someone's going to be taking home that payout this morning. Anyone will pick a winner from the reposters of the X Spaces link. And then we also have a giveaway from our friend Briss Bryan. It is US Open Day. We've got a pretty slick Malls on Ape to give away to a listener today as well. So a couple goodies, couple giveaways. And we got two of them actually. Two malls today to give away to lucky listeners. So a couple malls on Ape and a parlay that hit yesterday. Congrats to Pacers. And I said the Mets were the biggest favorite yesterday. They did not disappoint. 5-0 shutout yesterday. So we finally hit one. We have now we got to hit one today, and we might start running a little hot streak, Steve.
You should start. And obviously we have our good, typical listeners. By the way, we have a lot to get into. We got A with Bunchu coming. I feel like I know we have one more Coffee with Captain because we had a little bit of a gap week. I'm down to drop that one today if anybody wants to get in on the BZ Claw. We got one more. We still got the account loaded, ready to rock with the Claw. So if there are people who want them, even if you've done it before, little finale day, potentially to do it today if we're able to work it in there as well. So we're giving away some Clutch Markets parlay. That's going to be good. We got Coffee with Captain potentially. We got some more Ape Chain rewards coming up and some more things to brainstorm around. We talked to our friends over at Ape Chain, probably starting in July when things cool down. NFT NYC in a couple weeks. Then I'm going to be a little more out of pocket, but also doing the show, but figuring out exactly whether I'm going to be doing that hiding from my car or from an undisclosed location. And then come July, it's pretty open runway till Ape Fest, which I still need to book my tickets to. I'm probably going to do that pretty soon. Figuring out when I can work out with the fam, whether I'm going to go in on Wednesday or Thursday for Ape Fest, but should be a fun one as well for sure. But no, Cap, I got my I don't know, like I'm trying to decide how I feel about I don't want to be impatient. I'm trying to decide how I feel about the Kaido leaderboards here as I do things because I put a GM out.
Chill, man. You just got to chill. I'm serious. You got to chill. Like you would have gotten if you were ranked 28th when they did the boop thing, it wouldn't have been like $7,000. You would have had the decision to make for like a $350,000 airdrop that would have became $35,000. Like they will come. You're just keep doing what you're doing. You are positioned very, very well. It just doesn't happen every day. Like they can't give away an airdrop every single day. I'm telling you, like it might've been more than $350,000 if you were up there when they did the boop airdrop. Like you are crushing it. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry. Don't like remove the expectation of a Kaido airdrop. And you're going to be very pleasantly surprised someday. I almost guarantee it. We just don't know who it's going to be or when it's going to come.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I again would like to like see it happen. It's just it feels like like I feel like
it's going to happen every week, every month. It's certainly not every day. You just started staking. You just started indexing, and we've gotten the rewards. Like people who've been doing it have been handsomely rewarded. Maybe the best milk producing cow of the cycle, and you just got there. Now you gotta let them cook a little bit for the next good one.
I can't decide if I want to I always have this debate like regularly, but it's like constantly in my head. I'm constantly debating whether I want to just like sell my soul and just start talking about everything on the Kaido Earn. Like, and I know I need to dig into things on there, but like, I don't know if you have this experience. I don't want to call anybody out. These test nets don't leave a lot to do. They're not that exciting. And I feel like I would be like disingenuous to be like, how exciting is this random test net thing that doesn't do anything for me? And so I don't know, man. Like it's like I feel like I'm probably leaving money on the table by not doing it, but I feel like the people who are going to eat are like, I guess my worry about it too is, and people tell me on time frames is I'm hoping that OpenSea and Abstract use Kaido in some way come airdrop season.
I don't think they will.
You don't think either will?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So then, like, what am I even doing here? I don't know.
That's the beauty of it, man. Like, you don't have to talk about the shit you don't want to talk about. Talk about the things you want to talk about, and the next time they look to the pre-TGE leaderboard, you are going to be handsomely rewarded. Like, it's set up beautifully for someone like you who doesn't want to go and talk about, the 89th testnet that there's nothing to do. Don't do that. Just keep talking about Abstract and OpenSea. You're not going to get an Abstract TGE or an OpenSea XP for doing that. But the next thing that they do, like Boop, you're going to find yourself a 4 or 5, maybe 6-figure airdrop. You just got to keep doing what you're doing. It may not happen this year, but at some point, that leaderboard has been very handsomely rewarded. It's just, it can't be every day. Like, there's Boop wasn't that long ago. It was like 35 days ago that it would have been like, if you were where you're at now, you would have had the decision, do you want to do this for $350,000, which came 35 grand. Which 35 grand is still pretty decent for talking about.
Didn't it become nothing? Didn't they not claim?
It became 35. Like, I was a tier down. Mine was $3,500. I cashed out $3,500 and immediately sent it to the bank. You, where you're at now, would have been $35,000. Like, that's not nothing for talking about.
No, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. I just, like, I don't know. Like, maybe I just get antsy because, like,
it was 35 days ago. Like, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes me antsy.
The fact
like,
that you went from fading it to top 30 in that same time period, like, I don't know what to tell you. You're crushing it. You don't have to do anything different. Like, just don't. I think, like, the fact that you're on the leaderboard now, it feels like it's causing more anxiety and angst for you than when you weren't. It's just like, there's not going to be a daily airdrop, but I'm telling you, I would be shocked if there's not another big partnership where they look to that leaderboard for a hefty airdrop.
It's less so anxiety and angst, and it's more so like, I don't know, like more like this sort of like view of like this whole thing where it's like, what is the end game here? Like, what is the end game? What is the end reward? Like, what is the end? It's more this debate in my head that I'm constantly having. And maybe it's just watching me. People are probably sick of hearing it, but it's just truly how my mentals are playing out right now. As Marshawn Lynch says, take care of your mentals and your chickens. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what that meant. I think the chicken somehow meant money, but he's way cooler than me. But I think it's just my mentals right now as far as like, all right, man, like, what am I doing here? Like, do I just give in and capitulate and just like farm? Because like, part of me is like, am I going to look back on this era and be like, okay, if I was able to rank 28, just doing like this crap, like, should I just be playing in some sort of space and make my account a farming account for these sort of things, which I know that sounds stupid and it's not my style. And I get it. Like, and most people are like, no, don't give in. But then part of me is like, it's probably like a combination of like, I see what you're saying. I actually largely like kind of agree, maybe not with the earn part. I'm not sure like what'll happen next airdrop. I'm hoping it works out, but like, I guess for me, part of it's just like, should I just like give into this thing is the conversation I'm having with myself, like on a more regular basis. And I know that that's like, people are probably sick of hearing about that, but it's true. It's something I think about regularly where it's like, I don't know, like, should I just be going all in? Polka Dot's the one that's maybe more interesting to me. So maybe I'll just get funky on a live stream and start like digging in. But like, I don't know, like part of me is like, should I just be picking one of these things and really actually, but I don't know. I talk about it regularly, but it feels like so inorganic to me if I do it. So
I don't think it's that deep. I just think talk about what you want to talk about. You're talented at it. You just got to remove the expectation of rewards. That's my advice is like, do what you're doing. You're crushing it. You just got to remove the expectation of rewards. And yeah, I don't think you would enjoy talking about things you don't want to talk about. Like, you don't have to force it. Like I think you just got to give it more time. You just got to let them cook. Like you're doing the thing. It just, the last 6-figure airdrop for people doing what you're doing was 35 days ago. Like, it's unrealistic to think that one of those is going to happen every week, every month, even.
Bored Ape Yacht Club did it. I don't know. I'm probably just, like you said, I'm just the impatient, I need to be a patient panda, as Gary Vee would say. It's like I said, like I'm this isn't like some sort of bit or anything like that. It's like, it's really like, it's almost like now seeing, to your point about the anxiety, I think you unpack something there a little bit where it's like seeing my name ranking that high. I don't care about maintaining the spot. I don't care about farming it. Like, I just kind of hit on the things I hit on. It's more just this observation of like, wow, like, should I be doing things a little bit differently? Because nobody would, I guess, like, not that I would change how I did last cycle as far as like most things go. There are certain things I would change, but it's almost like the equivalent of like, we look at last cycle and we're like, man, we could have been grifters and nobody would care because there are grifters that just come and go and nobody cares. And I wouldn't feel good about doing it myself, but it's like, you know, it's like one of those things where it's like people, blast airdrop farmers were, you know, got like glory, right? Like they were like, you know, they turned into like these big sort of influencers on the timeline. It's like, maybe I should be like thinking about it in that way. And am I doing it all wrong? But I don't know. To your point, I'll keep doing it. It's just a thing that comes to mind. And like when I pop on there and I'm like, oh wow, 28, like without even trying, like what should I be doing here? So I'll get over it. I'll get over myself. I know Jack has thoughts on this. I saw his hand fly up and we'll get in some stuff. And maybe like we're even gonna get Jack on a coffee with Captain, I think today is what we're gonna do. So if you wanna get a clog draw, if you're in the chat, we're gonna do, I think, one more coffee with Captain. We're gonna need people setting up accounts on BZ just to really lock it in there. But if you're out there and you're interested in a coffee with Captain draw, let us know. Doesn't matter if you already got one. We appreciate our loyal listeners. It'll be the sort of finale of it. So we'll get.
Do us a favor, though. If you haven't yet set up your BZ account, please do that to the link I'm going to pin up top here in a second.
Yeah, we'll pin up a link up top in a second. But if you have not set up a BZ account, like that is the best way as we talk about ways to help us out. Like that is going to be your best way to help us out. Period, is setting up that BZ account. We want to help them get as many people signed up as we can. I think part of the problem is we have a great audience who's already in. So, you know, not as many people were able to sign up. But let's do this. Jack, saw your hand fly up. Go ahead and get in here, GM.
Dude, I love the conversation you're having right now and like the internal monologue that's being externalized on the show. And because I have this issue, like I definitely, you know, it does pay to talk about the stuff that Kato wants you to talk about right now. I would say I'm a bit less just do or don't than Cap is, but I would say at least maybe just check out a few of those pre and post TG projects and, you know, maybe just do a little bit more research and see if actually some of that stuff does tickle your fancy. Because for me, like, look, Somnia, I'm fortunate enough, like I speak on the show with Paul, the founder. We do a regular video show. If you ever see any of their clips, that's off the back of the shows we do together. It's actually really fucking interesting, like how they are building a blockchain for gaming right now. Like it's genuinely, the takes are interesting. What they're building is interesting. I think you dig it. And I think that's, again, you know, you've got Polymarket on there. You've got Forecaster. You've got Monad. You've got Pumped Up Fun. You know, you've got things that are genuinely interesting to talk about where maybe it isn't selling out to just do a little bit more research into the projects that are rewarding you to get involved with that conversation. That's at least how I'm trying to look at it right now. I don't do a lot of it though. I did a post yesterday and I still stand by it that realistically, the thing I dislike about Kato the most, and it's not like a hating on Kato thing, I think generally it's a net positive to the space once they get it right, and it is still new tech. But I just don't like that the whole thing is pre and post TGE. Like that reduces so much of the conversation to literally having to talk about tokens when there's so much more going on right now. And you know, we talked about this a little bit on the show yesterday, but that's where my head's at. I would say there are, you know, even if you just go to the pre-TG arena and you go to the top 20, top 50, top 100, there are projects in there that are doing some really interesting things. And if you wanted to spend some time highlighting those things, the things that actually interest you, I don't think you would be at a net negative for doing so. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I like Paul. I actually had a call with Paul. I fumbled the bag with Paul a while ago because like we were maybe gonna do some stuff. So we're gonna probably get him on the show here pretty soon because I actually like the idea of it. I'll be honest though, and I'll be curious what he has to say about this if we talk to him. It's like I struggled a little bit with that with the test net. Like I went on there and it's like this expired, this doesn't work, this needs to be, and I was like, all right, and then it's like, all right, play this game, and I couldn't figure out the game, and it was like, I think like part of the problem is like the test nets feel like they're like a little bit in, a little bit out, and I generally agree with you. And like I said, like I think Paul is like a total Chad. For people who don't know, like Somnia is basically the, you know, M squared and the crew that created Other Side basically, or did the tech behind Other Side. Improbable. There we go. My brain is still catching up. Is basically making a gaming blockchain. And it's it's very thoughtful. They're trying to have high TPS, they're trying to specialize. And I've been pretty adamant about the fact that I think blockchains should specialize in how they do things. Like, I think that's actually a positive way to handle it, where it's like, sort of like someone comes to you and it's like, our blockchain is the blockchain for gaming. Well, then you can give people recommendations on how to properly do a gaming blockchain, because you can, you can like have the expertise from working with like 5 gaming companies. So I think it's really interesting. That's when I started to dig into, but when I went into the test net, I'm like, I'm behind and I need to figure out a way to connect my vault, because my vault's what's got my assets in it, which get me the boost. And so I don't know, like, I'm monkeying around a little bit on there, but it's, again, I think it's like, I think Cap's point about like InfoFi being the opportunity cycle is there. Have been digging in a little bit on like what that means for people who are, and how we can, how it can be adjusted and how it can be properly sort of managed. But I think it is the opportunity cycle. So it's like, how do I do that appropriately, I guess, is my sort of thought process. But saw Joey Vowels actually come up as well. So let's go ahead and hit Joey Vowels, and then we'll maybe we'll do a little bit Cloffy here. I know we're gonna do Cloffy for sure. Jack, you're gonna stick around. You're gonna set up a BZ account if you don't already have one, and you are going to win something today. Whether it is cold hard cash or it is a card, and then we'll kind of go to the crowd for some other folks. But Joey Vowels, get in here, GM.
I was waiting till you transition to the Cloffy segment to make a couple announcements about.
Well, why don't you transition? It's because I know there's some very cool. We're gonna get Booching in there as well for sure. So Booching, if you haven't set it up account, and as mentioned, Cap's got the pin up top, or I know there's a couple pins up top, but if you see there is a sort of a ref link 2 over in the nest. Do us a favor, 1, give that 2, like, retweet, comment on the room. We have a slower start this morning on this Thursday, but sign up for an account there, and we will. Joey, go ahead and give us the announcements, and maybe we'll transition our way in as I pull up BZ.
Yeah. So for those that know or don't know, we're doing weekly quests, which give you an opportunity to win free prizes by placing on our leaderboard. And it's all based on claw polls, like, do you do one every single day? How many do you do per day? Like all these, there's multipliers and all this stuff. So you could rank up on our leaderboard, which then gives you an opportunity to win free prizes. In addition to that, we then raffle off as well to just anybody throughout the week. So you could either place on the leaderboard to win prizes, or you just are randomly entered into a raffle. This week, in addition to the regular quest, we actually have a grind the coin quest as well in conjunction. So we were given an allocation of grind from Pawns, and it's the same leaderboard that we have for our weekly quest. So the top 15 on the leaderboard will earn an allocation of grind, from the most being in first place and then the least being in 15th place. And then if you just share any socials about BZ, so if you pull something on the claw, if you want to share a meme, anything, something like a BZ grind meme or whatever, you can go into our Discord and submit that post, and you'll also get an allocation of grind the coin. So two quests going concurrently right now, our normal weekly quest as well as a grind the coin quest. And then the last thing I want to kind of talk about real quick, which is, for those that don't know, by participating in BZ as well as other dApps on Flow, you earn keys and boxes. And a key unlocks a box, which then unlocks reward points on Flow. We've had a handful of BZ users earn enough keys and boxes that they've redeemed for brand new iPads and all kinds of other stuff through Flow. So just for using BZ or any other dApp on Flow, you'll earn keys and boxes, which you can then go to the Flow reward store. I think right now there's a MacBook in there. There's all kinds of really cool stuff in there, and it's going to continue to expand. So it's a really cool reward system outside of the traditional, like, here's a token, sell off your token goes to zero. By participating in the Flow ecosystem and getting rewards just for, hanging out on BZ and playing with BZ.
I was gonna say I love that the rewards in the leaderboards, Cap. It's very legit. what's happening nowadays on leaderboards. And I think just, Flow leaning into it, which you enjoy seeing for sure. So very cool. I think let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's do our final claw. I think we're going to talk about the swap function, but because we have a couple people who are in, we're going to have Booching and 1 in a Million in we have Jack on stage. Jack, you're going to have to set up a BZ account if you haven't already from the link up top, and we will get you we're going to get you in the first draw. We're going to tell you what you're getting. Booching 1 in a Million, you're getting the prize no matter what, because because the swap might take a little bit of time if we are doing it via the X chat, but we've been pretty biased to the YouTube and the chat in Abstract. So let's do this. We'll do Coffee with Captain. We'll hit on a couple more topics, and then we will rock out with some of the with Bunchu on AI with Bunchu. And again, I will sneak out while you talk to Bunchu to take my son to soccer practice. So final time, at least for now, hearing one of our favorite recent jingles that we put together.
Coffee with Captain. Give that claw a spin. Culture grills from BC. Prizes within. Mystery and magic. Where to we begin? Coffee with Captain. It's your time to win.
It is time for Coffee with Captain. I'm going to pull up our BZ Claw here on the stream if you are watching. If you have not seen BZ and the Claw Machine, what are you even doing here? It is a really fun one to pull. Now, the Coffee with Captain is brought to you, obviously, by BZ, the best marketplace for resellers from Pokemon and One Piece to cards to sneakers, video games, comics, and more. All collectibles are stored securely in a Brinks vault and can be redeemed at any time. Plus, it's the only place you can find the Claw. I've said this to people before. I am a big fan of BZ. I have been in since sort of the beginning. I have a pretty solid BZ portfolio going of various things that I like to collect. And again, it being stored in a Brinks vault, I've got card packs that I've redeemed that I've ripped with my kids, entire booster boxes. And I have, shoes and Michael Jordan cards and other things like that, Larry Bird cards. As you look, you can see some of the top items here. There are Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Rivals booster boxes. You've got some really dope cards, some Charizards in there, some sneakers as well. You have a 2021 VMAX Climax Pikachu. I've got a very similar card to that, not quite as nice or shiny, that I got my son a few years ago at VCon. And again, as mentioned, you basically have about a average dollar value is EV. So meaning you put in $30, you get $31 back. There is the ultra rare things, which are less than 1%, rare at about 1.4%, uncommon, that's a $60 to $100 value at 3%, and then common, basically at you have a 1 in 3 shot, more or less, at getting at that expected value or higher, but certainly a lot of upside there as well. And of course, they offer you a swap at a percentage of what your asset is worth. So there's instant liquidity. So, we had Mel here pull a, $120 pair of sneakers or something like that, and she just instantly swapped and got cash right into her wallet. So a really good opportunity there if you're participating for the swap. Today, Jack's going to be the only one with the swap option, though, just because we want to show the swap option if he's interested in that. Although Jack is a collector, so I think there's a good chance he's going to want to keep what he had. So let's do it. We're going to roll first. Booching, we're going to go your claw first. So I'm going to go ahead and hit start on this. As mentioned, I have a nice little wallet balance funded by our friends over at BZ to do the pull. We pull it through. We do a little signed transaction, which doesn't show up on the screen because StreamYard has a good screen share going on as well. Pulling that sucker as well. So again, you're going to want to go to BZ, sign up with our ref link. Pulling in right now seems like it's a little quicker too. So I don't know if there's some product upgrades or what, but it's happening. It's pulling.
We did the huge product update on all kinds of stuff, including faster claw pulls and other things.
Right on. Booching, you got a 2023 Pokemon 151 Blastoise, number 9, PSA 9, good looking card, swap value of just $11. But Booching, do me a favor, DM me your BZ account. If you don't have one, set it up with the ref link up top or let us know. Oh, Booching's coming up the stage. So maybe we'll get Booching wanting to swap this and take the $11. We're going to find out right now. So I'm going to give Booching the benefit of the doubt here. Jumping up. The Claw Toy Story voice. Love it. Mash. Blastoise is a Chad. Dort's loving the Blastoise. Booching, saw you jump on stage. Do you want the $11 or do you want the Blastoise card?
Let's keep the Blastoise. That sounds awesome.
Love to hear it. Booching is getting a nice Blastoise card, which again, I am a fan of the collecting personally, but I understand if people want to swap, but I don't know. Not my jam. 1 in a million. You are up. So 1 in a million also coming up the stage. So we will give 1 in a million a swap option, a little bit of a swap opportunity as we go on here. 1 in a million doing your pull right now, pulling it up and signing the transaction. As Joey mentioned, Valms mentioned, upgrade to the system because it is moving through a lot quicker. Pratik is an absolute Chad, so love to see that. But 1 in a million, I will let you know what you get, and you'll have a choice here in just a second. Going in, doing the claw pull, pulling up the drop, and all right, $18, a Pokemon 151, Mr. Mine, PSA 9. You can sort of see the breakdown. You would get about $16.92 for this sucker. 1 in a million. Do you want the card or do you want the $18, or I should say the $16.92?
I'm going to keep the card.
Love to see it. DM
Kids love Pokemon.
It's awesome. DM me your setup account from BZ, and we will get you that card and that cash or that card to your account. So DM me your BZ account if you haven't already set one up. Use our ref link up top. Last one. We're gonna pull a Jack card here. So Jack, I am feeling good. Again, if you're not familiar with the BZ Claw, bz.io, sign up with our ref link up top to get an account going if you haven't already. I know a lot of our community already has them. Last one for you, Jack. I'm feeling this one. I am feeling that our guy Jack is going to get lucky here. I'm feeling that our guy Jack is going to pull a Charizard or something big, maybe an entire booster box. We shall see, and we'll have the opportunity to swap or keep. Here we go with the pull. Anybody watching on stream can see this sucker coming through. Pull dropping. Oh, nice call. Oh, you got a Labubu Monsters Big Energy single box, a $50 swap value. Now, it's from Pop Mart.
Let's go.
Do you want this Labubu Monsters Big Energy? Oh, no question. You don't want the swap value. You don't want the $50.
I want it. I want that Labubu. I've been watching these guys hit the timeline frequently now. I want this thing. Joey, how do we get this physical?
Ooh, Joey Valls might be taking the kids to score, going to the gym. So I'll actually give you a quick option. I can give you a run through on it as you go, but basically there is going to be an option under your account to redeem. And you will click it. So once you set up the account in the upper right-hand corner, in fact, I'm going to do a share here for people who are watching. But great question, Jack. So I've redeemed a few things, worked out pretty well for me. So you go to your account and you can click on the redeem button, which is by collection, wallet, referrals, redeem. You click on redeem and you would go on it and click the redeem button and just put your information in. They will actually reach out to you to confirm you want to burn the NFT, kind of a white glove service to give you your shipping. There might be a small shipping cost, but yeah, you basically can go to anything in here. There's a booster box I'm probably going to redeem here pretty soon for my kids. Keeping the shoes in there and some other things. The Tom Brady cards I'm keeping in there, the Michael Jordans. But you click on the redeem button, they work with you, and they send it right to your house. There in a few days. I've done it with a couple of booster boxes with my kids. So good to see the Labubu coming up strong. Big Labubu energy going around on the timeline. Sorry, Diego, by the way, I know you, I should pick you. You've got a couple of Clawfy items. We appreciate you very, very much, but want to get some new people in the mix, but go out there and keep using the Claw. I'm going to keep using the Claw. Sometimes I'm just feeling down and I just need that dopamine hit. It's a better casino than some of the other things that I play. Trust me, there are some bad ones out there. So
big finale.
Good finale there. Love seeing it. So for the 3 people in there, just DM me the link to your BZ account. They actually have a really good UX where you send me your account. I just hit the transfer button. I copy and paste the link to your account and can send it right to you. So Jack Booching, 1 in a million. Love seeing on the finale that we saw everybody keep their cards and a good, strong finish for our guy, Jack. So excited for that. Thanks for participating all.
They have winning. We hit the clutch market, play the parlay of the day. We hit the Labubu. Say it for me. Labulu.
Labubu.
The Boo Boo.
It's been all over the timeline.
Oh, I know. I just haven't said it out loud. Yeah, this is first time. First attempt.
And also hop in the BZ Discord, by the way, if you're not already in there. I've been in there, and I can say there were some drops, some plus EV drops that actually happened just by being in the BZ Discord. They do pack rips. They got Dachshund Wizard, who does some cool stuff in there. So, Cap, I'm so grateful we had this little run with BZ, and maybe continue to do something, maybe not, but regardless, appreciate them. And, the fact that they were able to provide some value back to the audience and back to our listeners is something that I think we're grateful for. And we always love to reward people. And I love the fact, one of the things I love is I would say probably I haven't seen the exact math. I think 75% of the people we partnered with collected. Something like that, right? It's like everybody was actually asking for the items, getting started, getting accounts. And I've seen a few people that we have who started on there who have started running the claw more on the regular. So good to see real collectors getting to a real collecting platform. So pretty excited about that and pretty stoked. But Cap, I just on my tick list today, nice little voice crack there in the morning. I've got Privy acquired by Stripe. That's massive news. ETF inflows actually higher than Bitcoin's inflows by a decent amount. So I'm starting to feel a little bit antsy about the ETH market. Infinex, we mentioned before, dropped some of their patrons. So I got about a $20 airdrop just for staking some Kaido. Again, people I know I was kind of I'm kind of in my feelings about how I want to handle Kaido, but I am debating staking more because I have staked some, and Cap convinced me last month as we talked about it. And so, while the price of Kaido has gone down, got a little bit of an airdrop to help make up for that. Some small Pudgy and NASCAR probably worth touching on. I have some thoughts on that direction as well. And I have a couple other things, but those are my main items, the headline items, things that can keep us going. But Cap, what do you want to hit on first, or anything else on your list I missed that was big news?
No, take it whichever direction you'd like. I think the Stripe Privy thing is a massive deal. Flew over it yesterday. I'm not sure what else to add on it other than I think it is going to I think we see a lot of activity coming in from TradFi now. I think, Circle, it's like two things. One, you've got the Circle IPO, which was a massive success. I think that's going to skew more companies to look like, okay, we need to be in the crypto game. And then these moves by Stripe, these are power moves, man. I said this yesterday. I have a draft on Privy. I actually was going to send out the take. Privy is quietly winning this cycle. They found product market fit. They built the on-ramp for consumers. No one really talking about it. No one giving them any sort of love until after yesterday's obviously big announcement. But yeah, they just started, they've been in this space less than we have, Steve. Privy was founded in late 2021, or it was in 2021. Maybe it wasn't late 21, but it was basically it was a TradFi guy that came in around the same time we did and built one of the best consumer apps. It's just this is the way forward. Crypto Web3 is becoming Web2 look and feel, and it may not be the a connection, a SSO-esque connection may not be sexy, but man, it is absolutely the foundational layer that was needed to really move this stuff forward to anyone and everyone, right? It's we were raving about Glyph, and by the way, there was another race poster dropped yesterday. The 10th one is now available for a free claim. Glyph is powered by Privy. Abstract Global Wallet powered by Privy. The overwhelming majority of connections that I have made for any DApp with my X account, I want to say 95% of them have been Privy. They weren't first to market. I don't know what they've done to give themselves such is it a tech advantage? Is it a price? I don't know. I don't know how they just dominated that market, but it's almost like they have a monopoly on something that I don't know. What's the special sauce? What did Privy do that's so much better than all the prior connections that came before them? And I don't, at this point, it doesn't matter. They've won and won in a big way. And I don't know. I've got questions. How did they do it? where they come in what seemed to be a pretty competitive space. Not saying they were late, but I don't think they were first, and they just dominated. So congrats to everyone on the Privy team. And yeah, I think the biggest news out of that, Steve, is it will lead to more interest in crypto at large, not just because of the capital might be flowing in or the investment capital, but because it's creating more valuable companies. I think that like there's probably those that have, like I said the other day, like someone who's out there, a CEO that's making a take like, oh, I don't understand, the value of crypto at this point. It's been around 15 years. We don't have any there's no, no consumer products. Like that person looks like an idiot. Like you can't talk like that anymore as a CEO of a publicly traded company. You're outing yourself as someone who is not tech forward and you've not kept up with the times, because this shit's changing. It's not just us degens here on crypto Twitter. This is like the ripple effect. I think that the Circle IPO and the Privy acquisition has through the TradFi world, I think will be tremendous.
Yeah, I agree. I think people so for people, again, Privy basically gives you single social sign-on. I actually need to update a couple of those articles, which next week plan is to actually like launch this long form writing and maybe put some interviews on there as well in the future. But this property I'm looking at, which I'll probably relentlessly shill people to sign up for, even if people don't want to read long form articles. I'm trying to put together some stuff that's approachable to people on a LinkedIn audience to read about, but also people in the traditional world here. They're longer form articles. And one of the things I talk about is like, most people don't want a 24 word seed phrase where it's like, go to someone and be like, hey, like self-custody sounds awesome. I actually love self-custody, right? Personally, I'm a big fan of self-custody. Go to your friends outside of Web3 and be like, hey, what would I tell you? What would you think if like you had a bank account, with all your money in it or your 401k or whatever, and I'm giving you 24 random words like, you have, whatever. And and if you don't remember them or don't remember them right order and you get them wrong 3 times, you lose your money forever. Like people are like, well, that doesn't sound very good. Like, again, for some people with self-custody, that's consumer option is awesome. You want to lock that money, in a safe place where nobody else has access to it. For most people, single social sign-on and how you interact with things is the way forward. And that is a familiar consumer experience. And I think people underestimate the importance of familiarity when they bridge people over to things, right? Like when people started getting into computers, it was like, okay, I'm in a computer now and I use a computer and I, maybe type some things out. I use a word processor in the 90s. And then it was like, yeah, to connect to the internet, you need to plug in a phone line and there's this large cackling sound and eventually you'll connect and people are like, whoa, that's not very familiar. But when you have high speed internet, it's like open up your computer and you're online. Well, it's like the concept of online to my kids. They're like, what do you mean online? They're just always online. They're always connected to the internet in their phone, in their computer, in their devices. Familiarity is important. Privy provides familiarity. It allows you to connect. And so I think like I agree with that. +1 on everything you said. +1 on the brands who are trying to talk about crypto not being a worthwhile venture, right? And not having real products. But more than that, to build on it, Stripe is going to get the crypto potentially into the hands of millions and millions of people because of that. They already have with some Privy signups and how those things work. And shout out to, again, ApeChain, Abstract, etc., for using Privy in this way. So I have an article or a longer form sort of tweet to probably put together about this. I've been thinking about it a lot the past 24 hours, but saw Jack, your hand fly up. So go ahead and hit this or anything else you want to hit on that we talked about this morning. Get back in here.
Yeah, I actually took the hand down, but I think it did that little bug thing. But it was just to say that X is bugging, so I couldn't even DM you. It was saying it was something to do with it was too busy on X to even get a DM out, which was kind of crazy to see. But I do think we are hitting a real critical mass point that a lot of the CT timeline don't seem to be speaking about because there isn't a TGE attached to it. I was speaking to Magic Eden yesterday on a show, and we were talking about Spark, which is, basically bringing DeFi to Bitcoin, and that's like a fucking huge deal that hasn't really had too much success right now. But you've got Michael Saylor and freaking Dorsey talking about this, like actually engaging with Spark on what they're producing. And these are ex-PayPal CEO founders. Like it's crazy to see like these like huge acquisitions and these huge like pushes that I just don't feel that we're talking too much about, but are going to have massive implications on the space long term. Unfortunately, this one and the acquisition definitely has hit the timeline more. But yeah, I feel like it's just a matter of time, boys. Like I'm getting fairly bullish again. And you know me, I'm never not bullish, but like I think this might be the next stage of like actually bringing some new people into the space again, which would kind of be dope to see. Like just a couple newbies floating around and being like, oh right, yeah, I like this thing.
Jackson, Tinkleys.
I agree. I think it's going to be different though. I think it's going to be the newbies. I think are going to be. I think we'll see more VCs. I think we'll see more builders. I think more entrepreneurs. Maybe end users, maybe consumers. I think it's going to be a wave of, like, for a while I felt like the next onboarding wave, the next big mania or mass onboarding event. I've been feeling for a while that it's not actually going to be. It's not going to be individual users like we came in 2021. I think it's going to be more and more of these businesses coming on chain. And then people come on chain by default. They don't even realize it. I think we're at that inflection point. I think we're at a point now, fast forward a year from now, and it's stuff like this. It's stuff like Privy that gets us there. Like there's going to be crypto companies that launch. They're crypto native. They fill a consumer need or they solve a consumer problem. We know they're crypto native, but to the world they're not. Like I think we've crossed that path to where it's just a tech company. Like before, it was, I think there was this bifurcation of like traditional tech and VCs or crypto native company. Now I think it's like we're all just tech companies. That's the world I think we've just entered into.
Yeah, no,
I'm with you. Sorry, Steve.
No, I was going to say, I actually think you're probably right on that. I think we're starting to see these things merge, and we always say slow at first and all at once. I think we're starting to get the all at once. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, my bad. I forgot where I was there. Naughty. But look, I'm so with you on this. And again, like I don't mean to harp on the pre-post TGE queso like bandwagon, but yeah, there's some fucking cool shit happening in this space right now, and it is more product focused and more company focused, which we really lacked in 2021. Like we really lacked it. We just didn't have anything, and it was just vibes. And you tried to tell someone why you were into the space, and it didn't have that next layer for them to go deep enough to actually like be interested or be like, oh, okay, that's actually that's pretty cool what that specific team are doing. And I think we've just passed that so aggressively, and we're just like this. Any one of these news items would have blown us away in 2021, and now we're actually here, and we've got like real game protocols, we've got real games, we've got real tech, and shit that's actually solving real problems as well, as opposed to some of the DeFi initial solves, which were solving problems that didn't actually exist for 99.99% of humans on Earth. I'm really excited. Like I just wish we could find a way to highlight it a little bit more in a way that, the timeline wasn't just, look, this is how you can make money from this new drop, because I still think we need to get away from that. Or it'll just happen without us, which is absolutely fine. It's just, I would like to see some of us win and like eat off that news. And this CT is no longer a place where you get like all the news first. Like it's become a very specific niche of the news if it relates to a token drop. But what's actually being built in the space is gone. Like we don't actually get that information before the normies do, which is wild to think about.
That's a good way of putting it. It's like the normies are going to start beating us to the punch because we're sitting here, kind of almost knocking each other's over for pennies on the sidewalk to get a new $100 airdrop. And in the real world, we're actually seeing real adoption happening in people like Privy, like you said, in the space shorter than we are. And here it is, cleaning house.
Something else I think is worth noting. I see this from Joey in the abstract chat. He says they're absolutely crushing it. Their customer service and tech. The amount of founders I saw yesterday on the timeline giving the Privy team love, like, that's a big deal. Like, they're so often, like, customer service sucks in crypto. Oh, there's no customer service. It's on-chain. It's decentralized. Well, it doesn't have to be. That's a choice you're making, whatever you're building. I think I'm going to take a guess. That's why they won. That's why they created almost a monopoly on this connecting crypto to Web 2 because they provided good customer service. They built a real business that happened to be crypto native, Steve. Imagine that.
I know. I love it. This is my type of, like, it's funny. Like Scott and I used to say, like, when we were like editing the book, like the things that we would go in and I would be like deep down of getting the nuance of an NFT thing correct, of like an NFT project. And I would be like, this is my type of nonsense. And then Scott would go and he would be like editing a certain type of wordplay or trying to make sure a certain marketing principle from his market design class in there. And he's like, no, this is my type of nonsense, or getting the end notes just right. And like, obviously it's not really nonsense, but that's kind of the way he did it. The Privy stuff is my type of nonsense. Like, this is my type of excitement and really the type of company that I think is, truly moving the space forward. And those are the type of things that you look for, I think, for me personally, as far as wanting to, fully wrap my head around the way that this tech is moving forward. So looking forward to Privy continuing to crush it. I think it's positive for the space to see it, Stripe acquiring them. And now Stripe is officially working with ApeChain, Abstract, Bees, like you name it. The large companies in the space are now working with that, which I think, to kind of build on top of that. And one more item we'll hit on, and then we'll bring Bunchu on here to talk a little AI with Bunchu. The Pudgy Penguins NASCAR partnership I found pretty interesting. I think one of the things that actually is really interesting to me about Pudgy Penguins and NASCAR is it sort of opens up this scope of crypto companies, Web3 companies, and NFT companies looking at an actual product, a market, and an actual group of people and consumers that they want to reach, a target market. When I look at what Pudgy is doing with NASCAR, I think about sort of what Lucas said on a live stream the other day with Moose, which he said, look, Walmart, Middle America, NASCAR, Middle America, we want to connect those dots. I look at sort of ApeChain and F1, and I think about the F1 partnership, and I think of those sort of higher-end luxury, what they do. I think of what Bored Ape Yacht Club is. It's a higher-end luxury item, higher-end luxury club. I look at NASCAR and Pudgy Penguins, and I say, okay, that's a really interesting thought about marketing to a specific target market. You have, again, Middle America NASCAR, Middle America Walmart, Pudgy Penguins, big partnership in Walmart. They're actually trying to connect some dots there. Now, I don't know what the nature and the scope of the partnership is, but I think the idea that instead of saying we're going to partner with every big brand just because they knock on our door, but we're partnering with the brand that actually hits the people we want to hit, I find that part of it interesting.
Interesting. I'm not like, I don't quite get it though. I understand the connecting Middle America. I don't get the NASCAR partnership. What are they doing?
That's what I don't know. So they said they are partnering with NASCAR. That was the extent of it. I don't know if they're sponsoring a car. I don't know if they're sponsoring. So that's the big TBD.
I just don't think, like, when I understand the connection from Middle America to Walmart and NASCAR to Walmart. I get that connection. I do not understand the cute penguins in NASCAR. I like, it just seems like not the, maybe I'm not a NASCAR person. I just did my impression, like my NASCAR knowledge is limited to when I was really deep grinding DFS. I was a NASCAR DFS degenerate, but I haven't even done that for years. My impression of NASCAR and the NASCAR fan base is not cute fat penguins, flightless birds. Like I don't know. I'm that's not connecting in my brain yet.
I see what you're saying. You're thinking like Budweiser and, sort of
like Budweiser and Pudgy Penguin doesn't seem like the brand match made in heaven. And that's, I'm not knocking it. I just don't quite get it.
Well, those people have kids, I guess is the point. And I think my thought is, and maybe those kids are, maybe it's like, hey, 8 years old, time to like christen yourself into NASCAR with your first Bud Heavy. I don't know. But like, I do think that there is a very real connection there where I've mentioned this before. When I see people when I see, like, my son is very particular. And I know my son, I'm not the NASCAR guy, but like, to make the analogy here, he's very particular about what he does. Like, I could bring him something home from an NFT event, and he's like, I don't like that. Von Front says you'll feel very differently once those flightless birds start burning darts.
The thought popped in my head, like Doodles might be a better brand fit than, because they smoke the heaters. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't, like, when I've heard it, I was like, that's interesting. It's an interesting brand partnership. I don't Not knocking it. It doesn't click to me right off the jump.
Again, my gut feeling, we'll go to Jack here in a second. My gut feeling is you think about the both the female demographic that exists there as well as kids who watch NASCAR. They're not ripping darts and drinking Bud Heavies, I hope, right? And so I think when you think about it that way, are they clipping a pudgy penguin to their backpack? Are the kids going and doing it to school? Well, what are they clipping to their backpack when they go to school in the morning? And
Dale Earnhardt number 3.
Right. But it's not an either or, although I don't think so anymore. I think for them, Dale Earnhardt is like when you talk to a kid today about Michael Jordan, I remember a couple years ago, I heard kids asking who was like their best player growing up. And there were kids who said Paul George over Michael Jordan. That's how you get this disconnect of like, look, I will talk all the trash on behalf of my guy LeBron James about Michael Jordan. I'm not going PG-3 or 13 over him. That's just not my go-to. But they're probably not Dale Earnhardting it. But like, they don't even know who Tony Stewart is probably at this point. But I think like at that generation, it's like they're going to be doing something. It's not just all NASCAR, all like vroom vroom. The sponsors matter. So I think there is something to be said about getting to that audience and having people in mid-America, going to Dunkin' Donuts and their school in the morning with the pudgy penguin clipped to their backpack. So
holy shit. I'm sorry. Interruption. Breaking news. I saw this Iris thing went live, Steve. It was a virtual, their first agent on ETH. We talked about yesterday. There was a fake one. They paused it. They refunded it. I haven't validated this, but $1 turned to 357. 608, half an allocation turned into 217 grand, 1,200 turned into almost $500,000. GG to everyone who hit on Iris. Sorry for the interruption. I just went live.
No,
opened at 133 million, now trading at 85 million in a 357x for all participants.
Oof, once again, I have not hit generational wealth in this space as other people get very rich around me. Jack, jump on in here and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm not a trader. Like, I'm just not. So I'm never making these plays. And that's why most of the cope comes from when I start talking about TGE. We need to get away from it because I'm just super pissed that these guys are making Jenny wealth, even though I've probably been in the space 7 times longer than them at this point. But look, Cap, I am so with you on like trying to compute why Pudgy's NASCAR. And I do really think that we have to understand that that is probably going to be the thought process for most people in this space. I'm sure if you've got a marketing background or if you've got like a very specific understanding about the niche that you're trying to grow into, then this makes perfect sense to you, which is obviously Luca and the team. They are very deep in the weeds of that. I wish they would spend a little bit more time just explaining that to us. Like, look, this is actually what we're doing, and this is the outcome that we are trying to go for, and this is how this partnership is going to get us there. I think just the expectation that we're going to be blown away by each one of these announcements just because the brand is very big. I think most of us are actually sat here thinking the opposite and just thinking, okay, dope. But is that just because the brand's big? And it clearly isn't. Like when you see Luca announce anything at this point, I think most of us have faith that these guys know exactly what they're doing because they just have a freaking litany of execution to a scale that we may not have understood to begin with, i.e. the plushies. And then now you're like, okay, we're just going to have to give these guys the benefit of the doubt. Just bring us along. Like I've spoken to the head of marketing there, Finn, a couple of times about like how he looks at all this stuff and like the counterculture movements that he sort of understands, because obviously Pudgies don't really follow, they lead. And it's so fucking interesting to hear these takes, but it does take him breaking it down like I'm 5 to understand like why these guys are so many steps ahead in the game. I just love them to spend a little bit more time explaining it to us like we are 5. Like, that would be nice.
I agree. I think with the behind the scenes building in public was a very popular series. I'd love to see him bring that back. And I love all that they're shipping and all that they're doing. I like Jack. And I understand they can't share everything and you don't want to get front run on stuff. I'm curious. I genuinely would like to know a little more the why behind it, I guess, Steve. Muted. Also, chat wants to know, Jack, who's your favorite NASCAR driver?
I don't know. I saw a video the other day of the guy who basically just skates a lot. Like he just puts his foot to the floor and he just skates along the outside and basically says, "I'm either going to see the flag or I'm going to see God, and whichever one I see first." Like that guy, whoever that guy is, he's the guy. But that's all I know about NASCAR. He might have retired. Like I don't even know.
Not NASCAR, but if you haven't seen the Apple preview for their F1 movie, go watch it. I'll pin it up top. Go watch it on an iPhone. It's the future of entertainment. Like it's for as much shit as I was giving them about their bubbles, like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I have not seen that. I saw it was posted about. But look, let's do this. We're gonna pop into AI with Bunchu here in a second. I NASCAR drivers. I am a Denny Hamlin guy, not a Joey Slogano guy. I know they don't like each other. That was a NASCAR joke that nobody got. But yeah, Joey Logano, I think is the other guy who I think is fighting with Denny Hamlin sometimes. Denny Hamlin, by the way, like Denny Hamlin was on a show. I want to say it was on when I was listening to him on Pardon My Take, but on a show. Michael Jordan's a big fan of him. He literally called him and got him on the phone. Like Michael Jordan would never go on Pardon My Take, and he wasn't aware of it, even though it's the #1 sports podcast. And they had Denny Hamlin on, and he just made a phone call. Michael Jordan just picked up because he's his guy. So Denny Hamlin, I'll take all day because again, as much as I do the Michael Jordan LeBron thing, grew up a fan of watching him play. So seeing him support a guy like that is very cool. So let's do this. We got some more stuff to discuss. We'll bring on Bunchu for about a half hour, talk a little bit of our of AI, which I
gotta say, Bunchu got in on that IRS pre-sale.
I know Bunchu's going to be too rich for us after he did. We're going to find out pretty quickly if he's way richer than us. But let's play him in, and then we will get Bunchu on stage and talk a little bit of AI this week.
Tune in now, it's fire brain time. Hot topics and thoughts so prime. Hit that play, no need to mind. Feel the heat in every rhyme. Fire brain, ignite the night. Fire brain, we're burning brighter.
Bunch GM, I actually got to ask, because obviously now Billy Betts is the focus. Firebrain was sort of the passion projects and things you were working on there. You built a really good community. Do you want a new intro, or are you still loving the Firebrain intro? You tell us.
I still like the Firebrain intro. We may need we may need a Billy Betts intro. Who knows?
We should. People love the Firebrain jingle though. It's an all-timer. I actually
it's so good.
I have in real life friends, Steve, that asked me if Bunchu's going to bring back Firebrain and Daily Ember.
That's so funny. Von Frunten said in the chat earlier that he had a call at 9:00, so he had already listened to the jingle, so he didn't have to miss it.
It's a good jingle, and for me,
don't forget we had a jingle off for that.
We did.
For that segment. Remember?
You beat me. Mine was a little bit more. I can't remember what mine was. I remember I qualified. Yours was more Love Shack. Mine was more something else. I can't quite remember.
Yours was about. All I remember from yours is that I had a sexy beard, which at the time was true.
Oh, that's right. It was more like punk rock, kind of like, sounded like something that you might sing back in your singing days, actually.
Oh yeah, it was AI with Bunchu.
Yeah,
yeah.
That was good. I think it was like AI with Bunchu. Is he even real? AI with Bunchu. He has a sexy beard. I don't know. That was before I was using ChatGPT to help me with prompts for writing lyrics. So it was some amateur lyric writing. But no, man. Like I will say, Daily Ember was. I did sort of onboard people into AI with Daily Ember, including my dentist when I went there at the time.
All right. I guess I got to do it again. Is that what you're telling me?
No, you don't. No obligations, but it was. I will say, before we get into it, like one of the things I miss is like that was I think that is a underrated format to keep people up to date, because I would listen and I would get 10, 15 minutes or whatever of like, hey, here's everything to stay up with AI. I was definitely more plugged in when I was doing that. Now, again, it's not your job to keep me updated. Actually, it's not your job by any means, but you do it anyway on a weekly basis. But like, it was really cool, and I think a lot of people did like it. So again, no obligation. You're running a company, but
It's probably easier. It's probably even easier to automate now than it was. I mean, that was like this time last year, actually.
Gotta be easier now.
I think I started it in July of last year, which is crazy to think just like how fast time is going. But
Semi-related, I got my first notebook notebook shared with me yesterday. Someone I was talking in another thread.
Notebook LLM? Is that what you said?
Yep. J-Bond, I think, put a post out about doodles and what are they doing? What's the next catalyst? And I responded DreamNet, but I don't understand. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's pretty deep. Like, I know it's not just an AI agent launcher, but that's all I understand it to be right now. I don't think that's enough. And Wiseman responded like, it is very complex. He dropped the DreamNet white paper in Google.
That's awesome.
LLM. And so I haven't listened to it yet, but when I get done with the show today, the podcast I'm going to go listen to is a podcast created by Google Notebook LLM about, it's going to explain DreamNet to me. So shout out to Wiseman for doing it. And I would imagine that it's got to be far easier to create what you did today than it was a year ago.
Totally. I would also say that if you don't know about Google Notebook LM, it is I would say one of the best like apps that has come out of, all of this so far. And like, if you want a quick way to like synthesize something that's really complex, like Cap just described, I love doing that, where you take like a research paper or something, you throw it in, and all of a sudden you have a 8-minute podcast breaking it down in a really interesting concept. And then you can chat with the document. You can make all these kinds of notes. It's really impactful. So check it out if you haven't. I remember, I think when it first came out, that was the one, Steve, that we dropped your Twitter profile in. Remember?
Yeah, that was like one of like the best like pump up your boys days when it said all these nice things about me, and I'm like, oh man, listening to podcasters talk good about me.
Steve, I have a question for you though. I sent you a prompt last night as a text message, and I was wondering if you used it or not yet, because it felt to me when I saw it that it was like right up your alley. And if you haven't, we should maybe do it live for you. But
this is actually kind of scary. I do need to do that. I can't remember when you sent it to me, but I think I was actually asleep because of the jet lag and everything from so yesterday, 2 hours of sleep, did a red eye, came on, did the show, had a meeting, took my son to soccer, picked my son up from soccer, went and fell asleep from like 1:30 to 3 just to get an extra hour and a half of sleep. And then I think by like 8 o'clock, I was fast asleep. So I woke up.
Yeah, you were clearly on cap hours last night, because I sent this to you at 8:19 p.m.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was cooked at that point. I think I woke up and like, I basically woke up to watch the end of the Pacers game at some point, and that was like the end of it. But I'm going to do it right now, and then we're going to see what they say, but I'm not going to necessarily read it if it's not kind.
While you're doing that, quick introduction on cap hours. I did see after I fell asleep last night that Plasma reopened the deposits, upped it from 500 million to $1 billion, and it sold out, filled promptly within, I think, 30 minutes. So that was pretty much another free money opportunity after I was long asleep last night.
Interesting. I did not get rich on Iris. Are
you still grinding virtuals? Are you still in virtuals at all? Like,
I mean, I'm very involved in virtuals as being a virtuals project, but on the side of like actually in the trenches, it's a lot harder for me to do. But
serious question, like a tactical question. I was in virtuals early. I get it. It made sense. I was beating the drum. AI agents are going to beat it 2025 when NFTs were to 2021. I don't feel that to the extent anymore, but they're not going away. And it's one of those, like, I was too early, stopped paying attention at the wrong time. What should I do if I want to get back into virtuals and start stacking some virgin points and start participating? Like, are you even out of it so far to even not give me good advice on that? Like, if I want to re-engage,
no, I think
where do I even start?
I think it's actually one of the, I mean, first of all, talk about if you are interested in this as a niche, like talk about being able to earn off of talking about something you're interested in, right? Like virtuals, they have their own kind of yappers thing there. I think they're part of Kaido as well. And
honestly, pay attention, because if you want to explore something that you're not in yet, this is probably it. Like, from what I know and what I think, like, you'd at least have some interest in, I think doing a deep dive on virtuals, they are on the Kaido leaderboard. And not only that, it's like a 2-for-1 almost, right, Bunch?
Oh yeah, and I think like Cap, you would actually really enjoy it too, because there's a lot of this game theory that's going on with the virtuals, virgin points, and all of this that is truly kind of like right up your alley in terms of
they've rebranded Ponzi to Flywheel, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, like totally. In terms of if you're participating, they're building a really interesting flywheel, and it's I can let's see, what can I say without saying too much? I think bad thing that we have had in terms of Billy being a virtuals project is we launched in late February as a virtuals project on Solana. And this, at the time, virtuals was supposed to be putting all this effort into the Solana ecosystem. Literally that week was the Libra stuff, and Solana blew up. And so we have kind of been this in the land of misfit agents, if you will, on virtuals, because we're not eligible. Like, people aren't eligible for virgin points. Like, the Solana agents aren't eligible. And so it's actually disincentivized for like really hardcore virtuals participants to hold our token, because they could be earning virgin points elsewhere.
There's no way for you to like, you can't, you're too early. You can't go back and,
well, that's the wink wink. That's the wink wink nod nod. I can't say too much yet, but we're working directly with
go buy a Billy token. Don't sell your Billy. Something's coming.
Yeah, we're working directly with them to kind of reconcile a bunch of stuff on that, which is really, I think, going to put us back in like really deep in that virtuals ecosystem, which is, I think, a great place to be. I mean, they're up to so much awesome stuff, and outside of just like the launches and the virgin points and all of that, they really are trying to push the like tech of these agents forward. Like I don't know if you guys have seen like the concept that they have around the ACP, the Agent Commerce Protocol, which is really interesting. So like virtuals has a bunch of agents, they all kind of do a different thing. And this idea that you can have, they basically have built a protocol in which other agents can talk to each other and interact with each other and exchange information and data, whatever, and be paid for that information. So what you're launching soon, I think as soon as maybe next week or the week after, is this Agent Commerce Protocol, in which you're connecting a bunch of different agents in the ecosystem to create a consumer product, right? So imagine, Billy and Tracy AI, which is the, NBA commentator, and the bookie AI agent, all working together to provide a different service for, a customer who likes sports and sports betting. Or, one of the examples they show often is like AIXPT sourcing alpha, and then one of the agents that's specializing in security doing audits of the contracts that AIXPT calls and whatever, and to build this kind of, they're calling them clusters. So like these agent clusters that can do a job for somebody. And it's really interesting. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's one of those ones where if you are interested in the agent space and crypto and like the Kaido earn thing, like you could definitely make a dent in that ecosystem for sure. Cap, I think you'd love it just from the game theory. I would recommend you kind of get back in and check it out.
Yeah, I think I would enjoy it. I've seen some FUD on the timeline about the game theory. People aren't like, because the flywheel is so good. Like, you have to like basically commit to a long hold, or you're getting penalized. But yeah, I kind of enjoy that stuff. You're right. I need to get back in. I think you've convinced me. I've convinced myself, especially knowing that Billy is potentially, there's some future there with deeper in that ecosystem. It's a no-brainer for me. I've shared before, but Billy's by far my biggest alt stack at this point. It's not a huge dollar amount.
No pressure, Bunchu.
One of the few.
Yeah, you'll likely like where we're going with that whole stuff. So in the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to say more about what the plans are there. All good things. However, I did also want to comment just earlier. Billy uses Privy wallets. And so Billy, we use Privy wallets because this whole discussion to essentially make it so that a user can bet directly from our platform to these other smart contracts for, overtime markets, Polymarket, SXBet, right through our platform. And we spin you up a wallet, and all you need to do is fund that embedded EVM wallet. So it's still yours. You custody it, and we never touch your funds. But what it also allows, that I think is really awesome, is you don't have to, because the wallets are like embedded to your accounts. You don't have to use our app in like a mobile wallet browser. You can use it right from, it allows you to be able to use it right from Google, Safari, whatever you're like on mobile, whatever normal browser you use, which I think is a huge advantage. Because so when we think about like, okay, why did Privy win? Like, that's a huge thing. If you can create that experience without having somebody to have a wallet app, that's amazing. And the other thing is they have built-in rails to onboard fiat. Like, you can right now on Billy, by using your Privy wallet, you can fund your wallet with credit card, debit card, Google Pay, Apple Pay. You can fund it from a Coinbase exchange. You can fund it by sending direct funds from another wallet. It's just so easy to use. And for us, it was like, it's been a no-brainer so far.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And like the mobile thing, it's so funny you say that. And then I'm going to jump and get my kid to soccer in a second here. By the way, two things. I'll talk on the Privy thing, and then I'll hand it back to you and Cap here in a second. The cognitive profile assessment, it's like you ask them to assess the things. One thing ChatGPT is great at is telling me things that I am not confident enough in myself about, like, all of my abilities. And then you're like, hey, put in this prompt about the things you're good at, and it'll tell you how good you are. So I love this thing. It did tell me the things I suck at pretty well, though, at the bottom as usual. But the Privy wallet, I didn't even think about that aspect of it, where it's like, when I'm doing things on the go, I'll see something on Abstract or ApeChain. I click through my mobile browser, and it's like, that just works really quickly. That is such an underrated feature of no extra downloads, no going to my computer. Like, I used to have to be like, when I'm back at my machine, I'll do this. So I think that's a really good call.
Huge.
And that's a big one. But I'll hand it back to you guys while I go get the kid to soccer. I'll be back. Well,
just to add to that, not only is it's huge for mobile accessibility, I feel so much like I want to do this stuff when I'm mobile. I don't want to connect. Even I guess I don't even have my hot wallets on my phone anymore. Like, I don't do anything mobile because I got so I don't even know what shifted me so far away from transacting on mobile. I guess I take it back. I do have Phantom, so every once in a while I'll do like a meme, something, a meme trade. But I'd much prefer to, because at first I was like, well, I don't want all these additional wallets, right? I don't want a wallet connected to my Twitter that I can't link my, like a main ETH wallet to, or whatever. I've actually flip-flopped now to where I don't mind all these different wallets. And I guess my question for you is, my understanding, like just walk through this example. I actually already connected my Phantom and my ETH wallets to Billy, the dashboard. But if I am let's say I'm going in, okay, for instance, the F1 posters from ApeChain, I'm into those. I let's say I link with my email. Now, if I go to another Privy connection and use that same email, it's a different wallet, right?
Most likely, yes. However, you can export your keys just like you can for, let's say your MetaMask extension, for example. So for Billy, to use the Billy example, like, you could fund your betting wallet, right? And then you can actually export your key and take that to your MetaMask or wherever, right? Because these are EVM wallets. So you would take it to a MetaMask or Phantom if it was Base or whatever. But like, point being is, yes, it's probably a new wallet, but you could probably export your key, and I would think through Privy's interface, you could actually probably tie your key to your Google Auth login, or tie your other wallets to your Google Auth login as well. So if you think of it more like a MetaMask account, where you could have multiple wallets in the same account tied to however you auth into Privy.
That's where I'm thinking, and I also am like kind of hopeful that at some point, like Privy introduces like some form of like, I'd love to be able to go and just link all these, right? I'd love to be able to have like a dashboard to manage all, because I can just see like I'm gonna guess right now.
I think you can do that. If you went to Privy
really?
and created an account, I think you can link all your wallets.
Very cool. Well, Payne, our producer Payne, is working on getting the team on here. I think it'd be a great guest. Would love to have him. And I like same thought I had earlier. I'll ask you: did you like? Was it just Privy, and that's like it was going to be Privy when you started going down this path? Did you talk to any of these other teams that have built a competing product?
Yeah, we are we're in pretty good talks with Alchemy, who has a similar kind of wallet stack, and their smart wallets are really great as well. So I would definitely check out the Alchemy stack. And the other thing with Alchemy that is very interesting is they are building their smart wallet stack specifically a version specifically for agents. And that's going to be, I think, really interesting too, where what I love about what they're doing with agent wallets is like you can have it so it's almost like human in the loop, or like kind of let it do its thing. But what you can do is set gates like, okay, you have here's where you can spend, and here's up to how much you can spend without having to alert me, right? Or you could say, hey, I want to be alerted every time you try to make a transaction. And so there's a whole bunch of different like specific settings you can create inside the agent stack to kind of ensure that it's not going to go and spend your entire wallet worth of funds, or doesn't do transactions in places it shouldn't, et cetera, et cetera. So I'd definitely check out Alchemy as well. Awesome wallet stack, very similar to Privy. So I wouldn't be surprised if now they become kind of the next one of these that we see as an acquisition target, especially since they're going to be doing all this stuff with agent wallets. The other one, like I'm not sure about how their like regular wallet stack, but CrossMint with their agent wallets is really interesting as well. We've been talking to that team too.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I mean, do you think was my take earlier, my assumption that they won with customer service? Like how did they differentiate themselves from CrossMint and Alchemy? And I don't even know, like, do you know who was like Dapper using early with like NBA Top Shot? Do you have any idea?
Oh, actually, I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure.
That's how I got onboarded, right? Like I got onboarded by a social connection. It was my Google email address that created my first Flow wallet. I couldn't export those private keys. It was actually an early complaint or gripe I had to the app. Like I wanted to take this stuff elsewhere. I couldn't even get like it was locked down. The only way I could get was through the Dapper login.
I don't remember who they were using actually.
It's just wild that they came. I feel like they were late to the game and they just lapped everyone. Obviously, there is some tech, secret sauce, I would guess. But is it like? I think one of
the other things that Privy had that some of the others don't. That it's like built in is these built-in like fiat on ramp modules, right? Like the Google and Apple Pay and Coinbase connection for exchanges and things like that. As far as I know, some of these other ones, you kind of have to build that in yourself rather than it's an out of the box solution. So I think that's obviously for somebody like a Stripe who's, whole world is fiat, that's a huge piece. I think that could have been attractive to them. Interesting enough though, right? I was our good friend Warp Joe. I did see his tweet about this acquisition yesterday that was just kind of interesting in terms of like, well, now somebody that's, not historically a decentralization self-custody company owns all of these wallets in theory, which is an interesting thing to think about. So if you're very much a decentralization maxi, I'm not sure, you may feel a different way about an acquisition like this. So if you own Privy wallets, right?
Yeah, interesting. I hadn't. It's like something like 74 million wallets, I think I saw.
Oh my gosh, really? That's crazy. I didn't realize there was that many, but it makes sense. I mean, we have 1,000 people with wallets on Billy right now, which is crazy. So
I'm not sure if Joe's able to comment on this. No obligations. I see we also have Jashaka on the stage. We'll get to your hand here in a second. I'll read the post. Says, glad to see acquisitions. I'll just say it'll be interesting when fees are adjusted to drive a revenue goal, as your custodial wallet is now under the control of someone else. At the bank, when that happens, you by default accept new terms of service. Curious on the compliance enforcement here. Yeah, I guess if Stripe's a bad actor, we are not going to be a great outcome. But
yeah, I mean, it goes back to the very always Web3 conversation of who has the incentives and what are they, right? Like that's the conversation we always have in Web3, right? So yeah, man, but AI stuff cooking in OpenAI is still cooking. They announced and launched O3 Pro yesterday, which is the like juiced up version of O3, which was their prior most heavy duty model. I haven't gotten to play with it nearly as much as I would have liked to in the first 24 hours, but everything I've seen, it's just blowing, all the benchmarks out of the water. The other big thing, which I think would be interesting for this space to follow, because we are so like NFT and IP interested, Disney and who was it? It was Disney and Universal both sued Midjourney yesterday for IP infringement. So this is probably like going to be the blockbuster case. I would think that
seems like a big deal.
Yeah, seems like a big deal. I know our friend Mackie was tweeting about it yesterday. I think I agree with him. Like this is going to be the one that potentially sets up the future of how AI and IP is considered, right? Who's bigger to go after these companies than Disney and Universal in terms of like copyright and IP infringement, right? So that's going to be a huge one to watch, because it's going to potentially shift like how all these image generation companies have to do things, or are we like too far down the rabbit hole and now they're just going to owe billions of dollars here to these already billions of dollars companies. But that one is going to be interesting for me to watch. I'm curious what's going to happen there. Like,
feels like we need a precedent setter almost. Like this had to happen.
That's what I mean, right? Like
I'm just surprised it took this long.
Yeah, hold on one sec. I got this. So here is just a visual we could see here of. Here, bring up that Twitter. So you've got Disney's copyrighted character on the right side, and then Midjourney output on the left side, right? And so it's like, okay, well, obviously we've all done this, right? And ChatGPT can do it. We saw it with like the Studio Ghibli thing, right? And this is a real issue. And what's interesting though is like, okay, let's say something crazy comes from this ruling. Well, then it's going to start this crazy cascade of lawsuits. I would think, like, imagine all the authors that are in training data, or, literal, like authors is another big one that I think is kind of a copyright issue, right? Like, it's not a copyright infringement issue for YouTube, right? Because I would imagine in the terms of service, you kind of give up some rights to your stuff like that.
The individual does, but YouTube
doesn't. The individual does, but YouTube could go and sue, right? Well, I don't know if they will though, right? They're owned by Google. So like it's a plus for Google to be able to do that. But like there's probably thousands and thousands of authors in the training data here that are not under like open copyright law, right? So it's going to be really interesting to see what the results of this one are. What's your take? Like, do you think this is?
I don't know, man. I'm really. I could be convinced either way. I just don't know. Like for the LLMs to be the best, they need all this data. I enjoy being able to go in and get an output of what I actually want, and it not spitting out, oh, sorry, I'm not able to do that due to. At the same time, I can empathize with these creators of this IP that somehow they should be getting compensated. I just like, man, it's a complicated problem, and I don't know how you solve it. I'm glad I'm not a judge sitting on this case because I truly like. I really, there's not many things where I'm dead smack in the middle on this one. I just don't know. I don't know how I feel. I don't know.
I'm curious what like the defense is going to be,
Yeah.
right? Like, what is the defense of this?
They're guilty. They're guilty. Is like, there's no way you can't tell me they stole IP to train their models. Like it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on like where it comes from, right? Like if they didn't hack the vault, right? But they scraped publicly available data, and those images are included. And like if it was able to be scraped, should it count? Like does that count as infringement? It's all kinds of crazy.
We need new laws. I think that's it.
That's where this is all leading.
Like this suit, I think will be there's gonna maybe some precedent set here, but I think it leads to. We need new laws, rules, regulations on copyright in the era of AI.
Well, the like rumor behind the studio, the Studio Ghibli trend with the anime OpenAI stuff, right? Like, you remember that trend?
I remember.
Right?
Yeah, I don't know the rumor though.
Well, okay, so I'm obviously not a lawyer here, and I'm not super familiar with if this is true or not. However, I thought I heard that, and I think it is true, that in China or that you cannot copyright IP like that. So that is why they chose to do the viral marketing thing with that particular art style, because you can't copyright it. It's not copyrighted technically. So that was interesting.
Outcome here. Do you think there's a potential outcome where copyright?
That's why I brought it up, right? Like it's like, are you headed somewhere like that, right? Which is kind of scary if you're a creator of any kind, right? But
it's like the easiest solution.
Yeah, right, exactly. But that would change quite a bit, wouldn't it? Like, it's pretty.
Yeah, this is wild, man. Like this is. Like we joke around like there's multiverses, and like this is one of those, like this seems like a major like.
Well, what if that is the outcome, right? Is like, okay, well, nothing's protected anymore, and we're sitting here in a space that's building all these IP businesses, right? Like, well, what is that? What does that lead to?
The world becomes CC0.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Like I didn't know how you like, because as soon as like let's say that Disney wins. Okay, so like you're not going to be able to do this stuff in ChatGPT, but DeepSeek still exists, right? There's going to be open source models. You'll still be able to do this anyways. Like I'm starting to come to the point, like, is IP even? Do you even have the ability to protect it anymore? Like I don't know how you put it back this back in the box. I don't know. And I also enjoy using it. So it's like I feel for creators. Mesh says blockchain royalties. The end user pays a small pay-as-you-go fee, or Midjourney pays a small fee to create. Like, that's probably the answer. Like a Spotify type where you're talking like fractions of pennies every time something's used. Man, it just seems complex.
The quote in this article is from the CEO of Midjourney is kind of hilarious. So it says, Midjourney didn't respond for a request for comment, but its CEO, David Holtz, addressed the lawsuit in a weekly conference call with users Wednesday after someone asked if it would endanger the tiny startup's future. The quote here is, I can't really discuss any ongoing legal things because the world isn't cool like that, but I think Midjourney is going to be around for a very long time, Holtz said. I think everybody wants us to be around. That's an interesting quote.
Everyone except for your competitors.
Except Disney. But I mean, maybe. I mean, why does this hurt Disney? Does it hurt Disney?
I don't think it does, man. And that's where I'm struggling is like the proliferation of IP, regardless of what the IP is, powerful. That increase, like the more your IP is seen, the more valuable. Like it's not maybe not a 1-to-1, but it's correlated. And so yeah, I think it's a net. Now the flip side, like Disney's not going to want you monetizing off that. They don't want you to commercialize that. So like maybe that's where this thing nets out is you can make and create whatever you want, but as soon as you look to monetize it, as soon as you look to sell something that you don't own, that's where the thing snaps off. I don't know.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense to me. I'm curious, Steve's thoughts on this. I would imagine you have pretty strong thoughts.
So I missed this one. This is about the IP basically saying like that they're suing. So they're suing. I did miss this.
Disney, completely. Yeah, Disney and Universal are suing Midjourney.
I mean, actually, it's funny. Like I'm waiting for. Is there any court precedent on this you're aware of yet?
I don't think anything has gone to like, not like this. This one's going to be. I bet you this is the one that goes to like Supreme Court. I think Mackie said the same thing in his tweet there. So like this one you could see going all the way up.
Because like I actually am struggling on both sides of this. Because on one hand, it was funny. I put up a Facebook post with like various like types of my family being edited, and someone had some like long take about artists and the sad things that artists are being put out of business by IP. And I was like, yeah, totally understand it. Here's the other side of that. And then they didn't respond. I'm like, oh, you want to get a hot take off on my family photos on Facebook? Got it. But like, I think like I understand both sides of it. I understand on one hand, you're like, look, you're basically can make our IP as we want it. And like, you can trick the models into doing it if they don't want to. Like there are ways like I feel like I'm a manipulative prick sometimes because they like won't do something based on like a prompt and I will figure out a way. Like, and this is a silly example. I wanted bread guy, like a picture of bread, but like he had a picture of bread, but I wanted a picture of like the bread butt on it. And it was just like, no, sorry, it's against our policies. I'm like, oh, haha, it's my friend, and it's a cartoon, and you can make him loaves of bread if you want. And it's like, oh, haha, what a funny joke. Here you go. And so, like, you can get it to change its mind or, like, put pictures in upside down and things like that. And so I understand their argument as far as the IP. I also understand the idea that if a band takes inspiration from Blink-182 and writes a similar song, Blink-182 is not going to sue them. So the idea of inspiration based on source material instead of pulling the actual source material is not a new concept. And so I think like as they're not storing, there's probably some middle ground where like they basically pay Universal for the right to store their IP within the databases and they just get a little bit of a paycheck on a regular basis from it. Is that probably the outcome here? Because that's like kind of probably the middle ground because I think the genie's out of the bottle. It's hard to stop. So I don't know. So like, I kind of waiting for like the court to rule on that.
Well, like you can't take this stuff out of training data either. You could prevent it going forward potentially if that's the way this goes, as in you can't use this stuff in new training sets. But then could you use old training? Like, could you train off of results of old models to get around that too? Right. Since it's already baked into the capability, like who knows, it gets tricky. There's probably loopholes on how you could do it if that's the outcome too, where it's like, all right, if you can't do this on a go forward basis, but old models, you obviously can't remove it from, can you get around it in some way of there? I mean, there's just so the thing is, it's like, will this culminate before it's already too big to fail? And the only outcome here is that these companies pay billions of dollars to billion-dollar companies, right? Like that, I feel like is maybe more the outcome we're headed towards than any like crazy restrictive thing, I feel like.
And it's also giving this like ubiquity of like, I don't know, like I'm probably not like kind of giving the perspective well, but it's like one of the things that happens, we have like this little like performance thing. It's like a small little venue in our city. And one of the big things there is cover bands, like you know, a whatever, like again, Blink-182 cover band, country cover band, all these cover bands. And they play those songs and they get paid for those gigs. And when somebody like goes and like does a really good, like I have a neighbor that I used to have in Columbus when I lived there, who's an incredible chalk artist. And she would do like chalk art of The Simpsons or chalk art at South Park or whatever it is. And like those IPs are like, wow, we love this. But now that it's in the hands of everybody and they're able to do it, suddenly it's a different perspective. So it's like, if you draw inspiration and a model is just really good at creating something in the style of Simpsons, you know, previously it would be like, oh, I can Simpsonify you at the amusement park and draw a picture of you and your wife like Simpsons.
Yeah, I mean, go to Etsy right now. I've bought one of these things. I bought Chamber one year for Christmas or his birthday or something. His favorite show was The Simpsons, and I found a picture of him and his family on Facebook, and I sent it to this Etsy artist who made them into Simpsons characters. This is obviously before AI, and like, so that has existed, to your point, right? Like that person is obviously infringing ish on Simpsons copyright. So, and making a business out of it. So it's existed before, but now it's, like you said, it's in the hands of everybody. And I guess that's a bigger issue, but
right. Like, is there some sort of like legal precedent for it hitting a tipping point of scale where my, 11-year-old son can pull up his phone, type in, I want my family to look like South Park, and they're like South Park, right? And those guys wouldn't care because that's not how they roll. But like Simpsons and these other large properties, like they might. And so, yeah, there are so many court cases. It's kind of like with like NFTs where it was like, are you buying the token? Are you buying the image associated with the token? Like, what does that look like? Like those IP rights, what restrictions are on those, and how do they have like far-reaching benefits? So I think like I need to wait for like lawyers who, this is why I think being in law in AI and blockchain is probably really interesting. Like there are some people who just like look at cases, read them, and just enforce them. But I think if you're trying to like break into a new industry, like there's an opportunity to form real cogent new arguments and debates and discussions here that you haven't seen before. And so it's weird. I'm really in the middle on this one just because I find myself vacillating from both sides depending on the day and the argument I see. Did you have a strong opinion on it one way or the other?
Me? No, I'm actually just super curious to see which way it nets out. I kind of think you're in this like too big to go, or like genie's out of the bottle type of thing. I think that's kind of where it's going to end. I think this is like, I think you're going to see new copyright laws that have to do with AI generated images. We've started to see some of these rulings happen in like a smaller, venue, but nothing like world changing. And I think it's just going to be like, they're going to pay their way out of this. And that's kind of, and then a new law is going to happen. And I think you're going to start to see that it leans towards being able to do this kind of stuff, as if I had to guess, because there's no stopping it.
Yeah, it feels like it's very similar to like, it's just like a new version of Napster. Like it's like I said before, it's like, like people are like, oh my God, doing something in the style of Eminem's not fair. But if Eminem got like $7, it's like Spotify doesn't exactly pay you out big money for using your songs, but Napster was a problem. Downloading music was a problem. Like I understood like people were calling Metallica and others brats for it, but I get their point. And now look, they don't get a huge pound of flesh from it, but they get their cash one way or the other. And so I think it's probably just a new version of Napster problem that we had where it was free before. Streaming services eventually came to fruition. Now they get a little bit of cash from it, and like it's probably something like that where it's like you just ChatGPT just pays these people a fee, and as a new IP emerges, ChatGPT or OpenAI will reach out and say, hey, this new IP is really big. We'll toss you this check to allow it to be in our model, and then you just take the check, right? That's probably the end state.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like there's probably so many ways that you could get, like, this is what I said to Cap before you came back was, what's the defense argument? Like that's going to be the, I think, determining factor of where this settles in terms of like, are they going to say, hey, this was publicly available. We didn't scrape anything we shouldn't have. And if that's the case, like, well, why would I pay you? Right. Like if it's, if I got this from a fan art Reddit that I had permission to go and scrape against because I pay Reddit for Reddit's data, like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? So why would I pay you, Disney? I paid where I could to go get this data from. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that happens.
Part of the model, Bunch. Like today, you go into ChatGPT and you can choose your model. What if you choose your IP model that like you have different subs? If you want to, want
maybe they pass it on to the user. You mean?
Yeah, like the user opts into what training data they want to pay for.
That would kind of suck if you had to pass that on to the user in terms of like, that means the big company who did it still gets away with it. The user ends up paying for it. I mean, it's kind of like,
I think it's in the range of outcomes that they just pass it along to the end user.
Or like,
well, that's what's happening in sports betting right now, right? You see the thing going on in Illinois cap where they're putting, Illinois passed a law that there's going to be a new 25-cent per transaction tax on all bets in Illinois from like DraftKings, FanDuel, etc. And so FanDuel said, oh, well, we're passing that on to the user. We're now going to charge you 50 cents a transaction on top of, whatever your bet is.
Turn it into a profit center for them.
Well, that's what I mean. And so like, I could see that happening. That's what these companies do,
I wonder, there's a couple things. I think like, as far as like, how do you do it if they scrape the Reddit? Like, I think it's a pretty compelling argument in court if you have near identical IP to say like, this is near identical and this was shared and therefore you're in violation. And so at the very least, they would potentially win a lawsuit based on that. I mean, the other option is like license it, or we'll sue you into oblivion, or we'll just create our own model where it's like you go to the Disney, Disney Princifier and you just, basically they have their own white label model. Like there's also an outcome where like that's actually a strategic deal where there's a strategic deal where as part of your Disney Plus account, you get a $5 a month upgrade and you could use their AI to create your Disney stuff, especially as like more I mean, this is and I know Achilles was dying to get in here on this one, so I will maybe go there in a minute, but like, this is maybe a model where so I'm going to try to think like maybe two gigabrain down the line, or maybe not gigabrain down the line, maybe small brain, we'll see one or the other. But like, imagine like Disney says, look, we want people to create fan fiction out of Disney anyway. Like, why not? Even though we love our IP, what if we'll have certain parameters on it so you can't just do things that are inappropriate? We just model out VO, ChatGPT, all these things. We create a strategic deal with them. We charge X amount a month to Disney Plus users as part of this product, expand Disney Plus to AI. Now you just go into our platform instead of ChatGPT, or ChatGPT gets a plugin from your Disney Plus. You log into your Disney Plus account and you can create all the Disney content you want. And we like that feels like a strategic deal. And then everybody wins because Disney's IP gets proliferated in ways that it didn't before. They can create restrictions and put sort of that restrictor plate on it so that you have the governor to say, like, we're not going to do that. And then they have a strategic deal. They make money off it. Eventually the price comes down and you can create things in the style of your favorite fan art. And you just plug you do a plugin into ChatGPT that's your Disney plugin and it just automatically talks to it. And honestly, like, I know this is going to like sound like I'm just buzzwording it. You can operate the whole thing on blockchain so it's paid for and used that way so that it all talks to each other. That feels like a logical, I feel like there's a logical partnership outcome to this more so. And this is just the first steps. The legal proceedings are the first steps towards getting towards it. So I don't know, that could be it.
Totally. I mean, you've seen like OpenAI publicly do some of these deals for licensing data when these kinds of lawsuits start poking their head. I forget exactly. Was it New York Times or I don't know. There was some big company that they licensed a bunch of data from. And I think you'll probably see that these companies have to do things like that. And, I bet you that's kind of where it goes. But to your point, I bet you a Disney case could be like, well, we were going to do this and we were going to train our own models. And now you've broken a business case for us, right? Like that I would imagine is a part of a defense from a Disney or a Universal. I don't know. It's super interesting. I don't really know where it's going to go, but I can tell you it's going to be a big deal, right? Like it's going to be kind of groundbreaking and set a precedent here for a lot of other stuff. Like this is definitely the highest profile one we've seen so far.
For sure.
I want to let Achilles get in real quick.
Well, we had Jashaka too. Jashaka's been hanging out for about a half hour longer than Achilles. Appreciate both their patience. And we lost Von Front. If you want to get back up in here, just throw a request.
Cool. All right, let's go to Shaka.
Yeah. So GM Steve Captain, I hope proof of Jib becomes a thing. So on this AI discussion, right? I own Ray.xyz. It's an online artist community. I work with artists every day, and I have to say I have no love lost for Midjourney. From my perspective, they are high-tech copyright infringers, right? Almost all creatives are being screwed by big AI companies because they have billion-dollar budgets and huge lobbying power. But there's huge loss of work being very much also hidden in the news. The numbers that I see when I research it, backing it up, are scary. Like 70% of game artists in China have lost their jobs. 70%. I mean, huge numbers in the UK, in the USA. But anytime you post about this stuff, it gets buried, right? And it's easy to turn a blind eye to things when you don't actually understand how much work goes into creating things, as opposed to using a prompt that was trained on someone else's intellectual property. So I believe the lawsuit is not about the companies who can defend themselves, but about everyone else, the little people. Like, as an example, I just bought Steve's book, which I'm dying to read. But what if I just cloned it in ChatGPT and started selling a newer, better version tomorrow? I mean,
you would actually
all the writers, right?
Right, but you would get sued for that, because you would get sued for that if you did that, because there is a policy. I cannot even upload my own book into ChatGPT, and that was something that was implicitly put together.
If I'm a big company, I mean, how long is it going to take you to sue me? Like 2 years? I've already done it. I've already done the infringement. I'm going to lobby against it, because this is what these huge companies are doing with their billion-dollar fundraisers. They're basically copying everyone else's books and letting you create your own versions. I mean, I don't really see the difference, you know?
So, Jashaka, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would say from the creatives standpoint, from the artists, the creatives, might actually have a lot of fans and supporters of Disney here, huh? Like, go get Midjourney and protect us. You're looking to Disney and the other billion-dollar corporations to protect the small creator?
Well, yes, I think someone needs to stand up, because none of the artists I work with can afford to do anything. They have no choice, no option.
They're smaller relative to Midjourney than Midjourney is relative to Disney.
Yeah, they're definitely on the Disney side, right? 100%. I'm on the Disney side. I'm glad to see a big company stand up. Now, whether Disney's just standing up for themselves and inadvertently also standing up for giving everyone else a voice, at least someone did it. I think they did a similar thing in the UK. For the musicians, right? And I think they even won in the UK, if I recall correctly. But then the government, all these dudes started lobbying against the new laws to protect copyright, and I think everything just went back out the door. So we're in the world of where money matters more than opinions, right?
Yeah, I think what's interesting though is, like, I totally get what you're saying, and I relate and feel that part. I am skeptical that Disney is suing Midjourney for the benefit of the small artist in which you are describing.
I don't think they are. They're doing
it. No, they're going to do it. They're going to do the same thing you're describing with their own IP, right?
Inadvertently, they stand on the back of everyone else, right? I mean, if Disney wins, it will be a huge win for all the artists that work on our platform. I mean, the artists that work with me, they're scared to say anything about AI. They're just happy to keep getting work. And that work is more and more, less and less, fewer and fewer. It is hurting creatives in a big way.
I'm curious, do you see the artists on your platform, are any of them like adapting or adopting AI into their process? Like, do you feel that there are some of these artists that like are seeing it as a benefit to what they do outside of obviously just like traditional work?
There is like a hate for AI, and it's unbelievable. To the point when we run art contests, and if an artist uses AI, for instance, to sneak in a background, the other artist will pull it apart, find it, and point it out. So there is like zero love. No, I have not really asked like if you have commercial work will you use AI to do commercial work outside of art? That's a different place. I mean, artists who need to pivot, but the artists in my community, they're more like painters. They're not commercial artists, so they're creating real art every day. This is what they do, right? They have to pivot. I have no idea how they're going to pivot. I see blockchain as being a big place where they can protect their work. If every piece of art that a real creative did was minted in some way, and AI's had to pay a fee to access it, because I think, like you said, the genie's out of the bottle, right? There's no way to put it back in. Those guys have billions of dollars. How are you going to stop them from scraping the web? You just can't, right?
Yeah. I that's why I was super curious to see like what your community thought of like any type of AI use in the art. Obviously, it sounds like they do a little different.
And even myself, I'm an art collector, and every now and then I buy like a piece of art as an NFT, not a collectible, and then I find out afterwards it's done using AI. I just want to burn it. I mean, if I art to support artists, right? AI supports the machine that actually is behind it. It's a different thing. I have not met any artists, and we have hundreds that have love of any form for AI and love even for AI artists, right? So like an AI artist is not an artist, he's a prompter.
Sure. A follow-up question for you. Do you or anyone in your community use AI in forms not for art? As in, do you use ChatGPT?
I use it for posts every day. We got rid of all our lawyers with ChatGPT, so probably slightly hypocritical. I don't have any more legal fees. I do all my contracts. Our software developers have pivoted, right? I mean, software developers kind of have to pivot nowadays, so they're much faster, much better. I didn't have to hire more guys. I have the same amount of guys, but we scaled up, right? So, I'm not being an altruist, right? So, I mean, I understand the benefits, but I'm not sure if there's a big difference between creativity being scraped, duplicated, as opposed to, like someone said the other day on a space, if you went to the doctor, so you hate AI. I'm an artist, I hate AI, I hate anything to do with it. I go to the doctor and they say, man, you got a brain tumor, we can operate, or the AI can do it. If the AI does it, it's going to be 100% success. The doctor does it, you got like 50-50. I mean, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah, I wasn't, that was not meant to be like a gotcha. I was just super curious of like, do you use AI in other forms, and where's the like line you like to draw personally? Because I think it's a fascinating conversation, right? Like there is a real pain point in the thing that your community is experiencing, and then at the same time there's very obvious benefits to the technology that make your life better and more expensive, or less expensive and more productive. And I just think like that's this gray space that we're playing in with all of this new stuff. And it's not easy to decide like, oh, am I a hypocrite for this, or am I not, right? Like it's just this really fascinating conversation
it makes life easier, right? If it makes life easier, I mean, eventually I'm going to lose my job to AI. I mean, I don't know what you do, but you're probably going to lose yours, right? We're probably all going to lose our jobs the way it's going, because everything is being automated. And I think, then there'll just be a whole bunch of big nuclear power plants running the AIs, and what does the rest of humanity do?
If you're in the art space,
because I have art stop in 2 minutes. I have a call. I just wanted to say one thing super important.
Go for it. Bunchu has a heart out.
Thanks,
too, so
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like something, because I come from a legal background, so I'm a lawyer, and so I wanted to highlight something because like it's super important. So basically, copyright in US law and in international law basically has two major components. There's basically the original work of authorship, so the actual work, and it has to be fixed in a tangible medium of expression. So I think the loophole that's going to be used is the tangible medium of expression. So is it fixed in a specific process? Is there a process like A, B, C, D to Z that really defines that authorship or that work? So that's going to be a super important play in the case. in the Disney case, and in the future of what would IP become. And in the actual laws of IP, there are fair use exceptions. Now, they're not major, but there are jurisprudence. There is jurisprudence that basically justifies under the fair use expression the use of a certain IP for research, for teaching, for commentary, even for criticism or parody. So there are loopholes in the IP process. And recently, we've been working, and that's something I can disclose. We've been working with the people who have the license for the Strumpf, so the Strumpf's IP in the UAE. So they're doing extensive work on the copywriting level. They're trying to register as much copyright, as much IP as they can. So that's something that we've been seeing in our work. So the actual work for IP is increasing heavily because people are scared. And of course, like to what the person who has the artist community says, of course, small artists are gonna basically be a victim to this, but also lawyers and everyone else. I mean, this is a technology that, in my opinion, cannot be stopped. It's there. It's upon us. You can limit it. You can work on things, and I think to Steve's point, once you put it on blockchain, I think this could be limited, because when someone views the art or uses the art or kind of does something that falls inside a certain medium process of expression, so a medium, a certain fixed medium, then yes, you can potentially make it monetizable. One last example, there's an organization in France called SACEM, SACEM. And we had a case. So we were basically the lawyers for a big restaurant in Dubai, and they were literally putting music inside the restaurant. And they put music that's public for a French artist, and they got a notice with a payment request to actually pay for the rights of the song because they put it in the restaurant. And so we had to go back and forth, and we went to court, and court basically ruled in favor of SACEM against the restaurant, and they had to actually pay to the artist who was dead. So basically to his children and his estate, they had to pay a fee just because they put the song inside the restaurant, and it was even a remix. It was not even a song like the actual original song. So to the point, once blockchain is out and it's mainstream more and more, you're going to be able to actually monetize this. But yeah, that's going to be the expression. Basically, that's my opinion. And thank you so much.
No, appreciate the expert opinion, and Jashaka, I love the artist opinion as well, and also the self-awareness to be like, look, I got to figure out where to draw the line, because Bunchu had to jump because I know he had a hard stop at 10 as well. But that's it. It's just I just think like this super like this line drawing and figuring out where it is, like the point you're making, the point Jashaka's making, the point we're talking about is like, one of my big things I did when I had somebody talk to me about the artist issue on the pictures that I posted of my family, and a couple of them were Simpsons or South Park style or Old West or whatever, is like, where do you draw the line? Because the person was like, I like using AI for my lawyers and for my writing and for this. And it's like, well, like, I don't know. Like, so you're saying it's okay that a lawyer, an accountant, or whoever is losing work, but not okay for a artist to lose work. And I understand people have like a feeling towards it. And I had a big debate about this on my, on a status I posted about it at one point. But I truly feel strongly that like, we got to be careful not to devalue and value certain things over others in certain activities, because different people have different skill sets and not everyone is a creative. I do think the best people are still going to get jobs doing things. Like, I think that there is something AI can't replace about a human, even though I know we think that it will ultimately. Like, I think, look, I put in this prompt Bunchu gave me about like my cognitive profile assessment. And part of it is like, I'm giving opinions on things like Kaido and other things. I'm not telling it to form an opinion for me. Some people may do that, and they may be successful in writing an article that way and see it pop out that way. And I feel like I can spot those usages of AI from a mile away. For me personally, like, I give it opinions that like I was trying to title it and it was giving me these different titles. And I was like, no. I want the title to be this, this, and this, and this, and this. Here's a prompt to start it with. And it's like, I see where you're going. And so I think the cognitive thought is something that will be hard to teach AI down the line. I know AI people will be like, nope, it's coming. Just look at how this is or this is. But I think that the best artists are still going to create art, or at least popular ones are still going to create art. I think the best writers or popular ones are still going to be able to do writing. And I think there are things that are hard to replace or impossible to replace because you can't replace, I know this would be a bad example with art, like you can't replace the trauma or inspiration an artist has that they ultimately use to inspire or draw art. Now, could you make art that is equivalent or similar or make you feel some type of way with Midjourney or anything else? Sure, I bet you could. Is it something that I think is super replicable or duplicatable? I don't think so. Like, I think that when I write a poem or a thoughtful, deep thought about a experience in my life, I don't think AI can experience that or replicate it quite the way they want to. And so, at least for my money, like that's probably where it is you'll have fewer people who specialize in various things. Other people use AI very well. And by the way, sometimes I use AI to make my work better. Like I'll just say like, hey, don't like the word echo in this paragraph. How do I get the word echo out of this? Or, man, my brain isn't functioning this morning. Can you help me get a thought starter on this particular piece? Or I'll have a sentence where I'll have a ... and be like, can you help me close this down with a better line than I have? I'm thinking something along these lines and it'll give it to me. So I think like we get, and Ian says in the chat, I've heard somewhere the same, somewhere that it's the same as what people thought about digital art, a digital painting. Anyone that does that is, quote, not a real artist. And yeah, like people had said abstract art wasn't digital art. Digital, photography is not art. Mesh puts out there that people have said that, digital art's not digital art. People have said that blockchain-based prompted art like you would see on art blocks is not digital art. I think is not art. I think it's hard to draw the line and figure out what's what here. And Jashaka, I think really good point of not making the altruistic point of being like, look, if I use it for lawyers, I'm also taking money out of other people's pockets. So it's a debate I think we'll continue to see rage on as they set precedent. But I think to me, when you say the genie's out of the bottle, it's like, I make my life more efficient for it. Like when I hear people say like, oh, we do vibe marketing. We save so much money on marketing campaigns and creative and editing and other things. Like I don't use a video editor really for videos I share on my, profile. Like, is that taking money out of video editors' pockets because I'm using Vizard or other products that do that? So I just think there's like, it's all on a spectrum. And I think I keep saying like, learn how to use it so it applies to your job. Because, if I were trying to edit clips from the Gardner interview 10 years ago, it would take me significantly longer than it would take where I had to manually type captions, or 15 years ago, than it takes now where I pop it into Vizard, edit some words on the captions, and it takes me half hour to get 3 clips. So I think that there's going to be lines drawn there, and I think it's just a important discussion to continue to keep having, but I don't think that I think like trying to draw the line at art is I think people all want to draw the line at the thing they do, and me as a writer, I actually don't. I think that if people want to try to write based on AI, go for it. Maybe this is probably hubris, but like, I think my long form writing is going to maybe not outperform, but be better than long form writing that you're going to see out of AI, at least for the topics that I'm deep on. And I think artists can do much of the same. So great topic this morning. It was a good one to walk back to. Yeah, for sure. I would say for now, I think it's probably a matter of time before it surpasses us in every area, including writing, singing, etc. Noteworthy, just as a flyover, and by the way, we do have a few winners to pick still, so don't let me let you get us out of here without doing that. But the Yahoo recently under fire. They fired a bunch of their sports writers, and there was some things floating around on this app on X that like they had a screenshot of here's the 6 Yahoo articles today. All of them were AI slop, like bad. Like just like to those that are in like the fantasy football industry, it was almost comical. Like the takes, the writing, it's just like it's not ready for prime time yet to fully replace. I think it's additive, it's assistant. Probably a matter of time before we get there. But I think the other thing to keep in mind is who are your end users? What are they looking for? And I think we're going to see I don't know how it lands. I don't know what exactly it looks like, but I think
maybe it is on blockchain to where you can identify this as a real human. But I think we're going to see demand for human created stuff, whether it's written work, whether it's art, whether it's, I just like, people know there's AI stuff that exists today. I just think that, like, I wouldn't be surprised that we see a media company that comes out and their whole thing is, we only put out stuff that's written by humans. Like, we don't use AI to create, like, we may use it to proofread, but we don't use AI for any creation. And maybe at the end of the day, people just want good content. People just want good art, want good music. They don't care who makes it. But what I'm seeing today, at least, is it's in some cases being met with vitriol when they're going too far, leaning into the AI creation meta.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that right now, like, if you go too hard into that, and look, I'm not going to like call people out or whatever, but it's like, you see people and not just like the individual people think about, but I see people in my replies who use ChatGPT. I see people who post using ChatGPT. It's obvious. And look, if it's your original thoughts and you help inform it, that's great. But there are certain things I know, like ChatGPT likes to ask a question and answer it. ChatGPT likes to use M dashes. Like, there are certain things where I can read it, and it's almost the way that I read things in the voice of an author. I read ChatGPT in a voice I've created in my head for ChatGPT. Like, it is just, that's what it is. It is a very manufactured, obvious, usage of that. So I just think, like, people underestimate how obvious it is right now. I think it's going to get better than most people. I don't think it's going to get better than people who are experts, because it's just, and maybe eventually it will. I think we are a long way off. Even in the current ChatGPT models, which are incredibly smart, it doesn't have the same perspectives on things like InfoFi. Like, I'm writing this InfoFi article and it tried to like jump around with me and it wasn't super smart. Like, I think that it's not, I think that it is not smart enough to do a good enough job yet. And I don't know if it'll ever quite get there with certain artists and certain writers. And I think right now, to your point, it's a lot of slop. I think a lot of stuff comes out and it doesn't do as good of a job, because there's certain things that I think, maybe I'm crazy. I think there are certain things that will be very, very hard to train that humanity does. And I think it's really good at identifying and synthesizing information. I think even forming opinions right now, it's really hard and bad at. Like, I asked an opinion of the percentage we're in a simulation, and I got like 17 different answers depending on how I prompted it. It was trying to guide and do what I wanted to do. It was trying to be eager to please versus actually giving me an opinion. So I think opinion-based writing, people who are deep in a space, like when I look for examples to use in articles, it gives me really bad examples right now when it comes to Web3. It's just not versed on it. And I think hopefully it gets there with ones. And I'm probably, just by putting out my own writing and putting into it, giving it more source material. But I think that until it gets to that point, and the only thing that it does well that I think is going to be important is citations. Like, down the line, like it gives me citations now when I look for certain types of things. And hopefully, like, down the line, it cites academic pieces that people write. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how I think, like, my recommendation to everybody, I'll put a button on this because I know we gotta rock out here in a second, and you got to pick the winners, is use AI in a way that benefits your personal life and your personal job. I use it for task management. I use it for writing assistance when I need to have like certain like things that I'm stuck on. I use it for art creation. We use it to create art for the show. Use it where it makes sense for you and just stay up to date on it. And you're going to position yourself as best as possible, because most people still aren't using it properly. So, Cap, why don't we pick some winners and let people get out of here?
Yep, let's do it. Sorry for the background music. I was the last thing I want to plug is, if you picked up one of the, how loud is that, Steve? Is it really bad?
I don't hear it at all. What is it?
Okay, cool. It is the brewery.xyz tap room.
Oh, it's probably going through heavy in the space. I'll have to check. Let me check. I'll check on mute, but go ahead. Keep going.
I'm getting there now. There's an update. It just says, like, if you mint in one of those kegs, you want to go check it out. And there's something new on brewery.xyz from our friends over there at Board Brewing. I pinned that up top for anyone that's been participating, following along.
Pretty sure that I, by the way, did not get one of those kegs because the shadow token thing wasn't working properly delegated, and I didn't want to connect my hardware wallet. So RIP me.
Yeah, you need to get that fixed because I'm near certain there's going to be more things coming down the pipe that way. But let's do this. Let's get our winners. Let's get everyone out of here. First, I'm going to give the Caps Clutch Market Parlay of the Day payout. We're gonna send that to our guy Risk Brian for was not prompted. He just generously gave away a couple mulligans or mulls on apes today. So we're gonna return the favor and hook our guy Risk, long time friend, fan of the show, friend of the show, and I think here almost each and every morning. So appreciate all the support and well deserved. Maybe you can turn that. Let me go actually check the actual amount. I think it was like 35, maybe 48. Maybe you can turn that into a U.S. Open winner over on Clutch Market, or maybe pick a parlay over there. I think they have golf. Let me double check on again ape.clutch.market to get your parlays in. And yes, they do have U.S. Open. You can pick the winner. You can go Scotty or Rory. Looks like that's the only open bets they have now is Scotty or Rory as the winner. Oh no, they got them all there. You scroll down. So yeah, you can pick any winners over there. If you're going to be watching golf this weekend, good luck to all those. And for the two malls on Ape, Steve, how do you want to pick those? Just anyone in the chat who you want to have them mention their favorite golfer. How do you want to pick our two malls on Apes winners?
I mean, nothing jumps out to me. I think just maybe even like pick a couple speakers today, give away some moles there. You could do, but however you want to go. And yeah, while you look at those, I will say I'm actually kind of excited to watch some golfers struggle. U.S. Open, everything I've seen about the course, this is one of they've been soft with the course in the U.S. Open a few times in recent years, which is supposed to be like ones that make them look human. I saw a practice round where a guy was putting from like 128 yards away because off the fairway, because it was so hard to land on the green from where it was, and it was relatively successful. So we're going to see some people struggle. It's like plus like 15,000 that anybody gets through the first round without a bogey or something like that. It's insane numbers because it's going to be so hard. So if you want to watch some golfers struggle, I like watching them be really good, but I like occasionally once a year watching them struggle a little bit. So it'll be fun. Kind of rooting for Scotty because I like some greatness in the world, and Scotty was seen as sort of a little bit of a Masters merchant until recently. So he's back in the fold, kind of got his swagger back a little bit. So for whatever swagger Scotty Scheffler has for being one of the most boring golfers of all time. So who's great, but kind of rooting for Scotty. Never been a Rory guy. Congrats on the Grand Slam, Rory. Never been a Rory guy. So give me Scotty Scheffler on this one, or who I'd like to see. Xander Schauffele in the mix would be fun too, because I feel like Xander hasn't won one yet, right? Like in a major, and he's always like the bridesmaid, right? I feel like he's the guy who's always out there. So I don't know, could be an interesting one. So I'm rooting for some good U.S. Open golf today. Some topics to kick in tomorrow, but make sure you show up tomorrow. It was a slower day today. X was being buggy at one point. It seemed like it was completely out. So I know tomorrow we'll get a little bit into Rec Guy because we're gonna have OSF on. Excited for that. And we hit Pudgy and NASCAR. So actually we hit most of the topics today that I think we wanted to hit. Any other parting thoughts before we let everyone get out of here?
We got our friends from Navigate with a new update. It's some sort of ETH validator node. Might be a conversation worth a deeper dive. Too techy to hit on a flyover, but congrats on, I pinned it up top if anyone wants to dive. It's called the Navicom decentralized node. It's minting and exclusively on Base. And we are gonna reward our speakers. We're gonna give those malls on Apes to Jashaka and Achilles for helping us wind down the AI conversation this morning. Appreciate always everyone who joins the conversation and adds to the combo. I greatly appreciate everyone who tuned in today. And as Steve mentioned, we'll have OSF with us tomorrow talking all things Wrecked. If you haven't yet hit that reminder, the carousel's pinned up top. Would love a full house for Ovi tomorrow.
Yep, give us a little love for that. Looking forward to talking to Ovi tomorrow. And go ahead.
Jashaka and Achilles, shoot me a DM and we'll get those malls on Ape over to you.
Yeah.
DM your ETH or Ape Chain wallet address, please.
Yeah, maybe even a Privy wallet. We'll see. But appreciate everyone who came through this morning. Good chat across the board. Really enjoyed the conversation. Looking forward to talking to everybody bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thanks for tuning into Coffee with Captain, powered by ApeCoin. We hope you enjoyed the show, and remember, nothing we discussed today is financial advice. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.
Welcome to the future.